Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today between the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes, so let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into these starting lineups. Happy Sunday, everyone. And on the thumb, on the left, the best center fielder in the game, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. And on the right, the Detroit Tigers first baseman, Spencer Torkelson. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at second base, Cole Clutch Young. Batting second, playing center field, it's J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, playing first base, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing right field, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, DHing today for Seattle, the Italian stallion, Dominic Canzone. Batting seventh, playing third base, Patrick Wisdom. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, Colt Emerson. And batting ninth, catching today for Seattle, Johnny Pereda. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 2-5 record and ERA of 5.53, it is La Piedra Luis Castillo. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Detroit Tigers. Leading off for the Tigers in right field, Kerry Carpenter. Batting second, playing shortstop, the Phenom, Kevin McGonigal. Batting third, DHing today for Detroit, Gleyber Torres. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder, Riley Green. Batting fifth, catching today for Detroit, Dylan Dingler. Batting sixth, playing third base, Colt Keith. Batting seventh, playing first base, Spencer Torkelson. Batting eighth, playing second base, Zach McKinstry. And batting ninth, playing center field, Wencel Perez. And on the mound for the Tigers, a 1-7 record, an ERA of 5.31. It is Jack Flaherty. And it's pretty rare when we have someone match up with Luis Castillo that's got a worse record than him. So since he is a righty, hopefully we can take advantage with this strong lefty lineup, and we will see what we get out of Flaherty and Castillo. Will they be good today? Will they be bad? We don't really know. I mean, again, each guy is giving up more than 5 runs per game. So we could have a high-scoring affair, and hopefully the Mariners can get the job done with our worst starter on the mound. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio for this legend and icon, Rick Riz, and every stream this season we will dedicate to this legend and icon, one of the best in the business, who's retiring after this season. We love you, Rick Riz. All right, I am ready to go. All day in the building. What's good? Jerry in the building. What's good? Captain and Logan in the building. Let's get it. And again, I'm still having some issues, so I've reached out to them, 3-4 times already. We've been kind of going back and forth. They haven't fixed the issue yet. So I had to improvise and try to find something, that would look better in between the photos rather than you seeing a cutout of me every single time in between the photos. And the best thing I could come up with is creating another layout with just the baseball cards that you have on the side and behind me. And I think for the now, that'll be the best that we'll have until they fix the issue. And hopefully won't we have any delays with the photos in the future once they fix the issue. Hopefully they will. So that way we can have streamlined photos sooner than later. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. And I got a couple new additions from Brooks Beats from last night. So we'll be debuting those here today as well. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. So again, obviously we know this is, a little nerve-wracking when you end up having our worst starter on the mound. But for the Tigers, the same thing. They got one of their worst starters on the mound as well. 1-7 record, ERA of 5.31 in Jack Flaherty. And thankfully, he's not a lefty. He's a righty. So we can have Dom and Luke in the lineup. So that'll give us a better chance. And Castillo is 2-5 with a 5.53. So pretty similar, but it is one of the first times all year that we are facing someone that's got a worse record than Luis Castillo, believe it or not. And, we'll see how it all plays out. First pitch from Flaherty to Cole Clutch Young. Four-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And we'll be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train. And 5 to 15 subs. Let's get it, baby. 0-1 pitch, high and inside with a four-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike from Flaherty to Young. 1-1 pitch popped up and in foul territory, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Colt Keith getting the out, and hopefully we'll be able to get Cole going early and often as he's filling in as a leadoff hitter at the moment, since JP Crawford is still out with the hand that got hit by Framber Valdez. So down goes Cole Young. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. On deck will be Josh Naylor. First pitch to Julio, takes a strike looking with the knuckle curve, 79 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Flaherty. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. 0-2 pitch, low and away. Slider, 88 miles an hour missing there by Flaherty. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Magic number for the Mariners will be 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And if Castillo can give up 3 runs or less, should give us a very good chance to compete in this game late. 1-2 pitch, low and away with the slider, 87 miles an hour by Flaherty. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And again, both pitchers may surprise us and play good today. Both may be terrible, and it might be a high-scoring affair of something 8-7 or 9-8, or we may only see one of the 2 pitchers have a good game, and hopefully that'll be Castillo if that ends up being the case. 2-2 pitch, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. Missing there just by maybe a half inch. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. 3-2 pitch, popped up and behind the plate and foul, out of play. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. Count still remains full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. Happy Sunday morning to everyone. 3-2 pitch. And Julio strikes out looking on the corner, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Next up for the Mariners, in the 3-hole, who got hit in the neck yesterday due to some uncalled for retaliation, first baseman Josh Naylor. On deck is Randy Arozarena. And I am a little curious to see if the Mariners will retaliate based on, it's one thing if you want to be able to get back at somebody and hit someone in the stomach, or in the back, but never go for the head. When you're going for the head area, that's as dirty as it can get, because that could lead to a real serious injury. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. But Naylor, as a professional, and he laughed it off. He obviously looked at Framber Valdez in the dugout. He was pointing and laughing. So there is starting to be a little bit of bad blood now between the Mariners and the Tigers. We beat them in the ALDS, Game 5 with Jorge Polanco. And again, if you look at their manager, Hinch, he was part of that Astro cheating regime. So again, Framber Valdez being an Astro, Hinch, the manager, being a former Astro. Again, I feel that maybe now the Tigers are public enemy number one right behind the Astros. And if they keep playing, the way that they have, it might be neck and neck, between the hated, teams for us, moving forward. And again, it's definitely going to cause a good rivalry. 2-1 pitch from Flaherty to Naylor. And this is being challenged here. We'll see what happens. And I am curious to see if Castillo will retaliate today. And the Tigers end up winning that challenge. Call gets overturned from a ball to a strike. So now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. And obviously the collision with Naylor at first, that wasn't intentional. And then obviously him throwing off the batting, mitt, like kind of the cooking mitt that he wears on the one hand, a lot of those guys have on, to get into home. Those two things, maybe the Tigers didn't agree with it, but that doesn't mean that you throw at someone's head, and again, my hate for this team is definitely going to another level. And again, Astros will always be number one in our books for the most hated team, but Tigers are probably number 2 now. 2-2. Okay, we get another challenge here. And the Tigers end up winning that challenge. And that is going to be overruled. And that is strike 3 on Josh Naylor. 3 up and 3 down. And let's see who's up next here for the Detroit Tigers. And again, I hate Framber Valdez. He was always doing things like that. I mean, anytime you end up even crossing up your own catcher on your own team, I already knew he wasn't going to be on the Astros after what he did last season. So, I mean, if you're trying to injure your own players on your own team, pitcher to catcher, and you hit him, after he tried to call a pitch for you not to throw and you called him off, and then you end up, giving up a big grand salami, and then the next pitch you end up trying to injure your own catcher, that's Bush League, and there's no place in baseball for that. So, won't hurt my feelings once Framber is out of the league. Definitely one of the dirtiest players in the game. There's no doubt about that. Leading off for the Tigers in right field, Kerry Carpenter. Batting second, shortstop phenom Kevin McGonigal. And batting third, DHing today, former Yankee, now Tiger, Gleyber Torres. And on the mound with a 2-5 record, ERA of 5.53, it's La Piedra Luis Castillo. And based on what I've been reading, it sounds like if the Mariners were going to move, any pitchers on our staff, the only one they would consider would be Castillo. But who knows if they'll even do that. But again, even with Castillo's woes, with the season, I think that, if we can't trade him, just moving him into the bullpen will at least give us someone that might be able to get us a half inning or 2 innings of decent baseball from time to time. Anytime you end up playing Castillo more than 3 innings, usually there is going to be disaster incoming. But again, we have seen him be clean, for about 2 or 3 innings, not necessarily getting, 5, 6, 7 punch outs in 3 innings of play. But, again, as long as he's able to get some cheap outs, maybe get some defensive help with some double plays behind him, we just have to hope, that not a lot of home runs are given up, not a lot of RBIs, and the defense comes into play. Mike in the building, what's good? First pitch, woo, I like that. Big swing and a miss on that first pitch. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, out of play, low and at the knees with a changeup, 87 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes to Kerry Carpenter. And again, we'll know how good Castillo is after, the first or two, first inning, second inning, but again, usually things kind of go downhill after the third inning. But again, maybe today will be a different story. And he did have one of his best starts, just a few starts ago. So, I guess, better late than ever. Pitch is high and away. 1-2 pitch. Fouled off down the line in right field, out of play with a slider, 86 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the first inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. Captain says we're at 20 early. Good start. 1-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. Another 4-seam fastball. They're out of Luis Castillo. And Kerry Carpenter has kind of been a thorn in our side since 2023. He's one of the top 3 players that, hit a lot of home runs against us in recent memory. So we just got to be able to limit the damage to Kerry Carpenter. 1-2 pitch, popped behind the plate to the Comerica Park bricks. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Carpenter. And there's a few other guys that are kind of thorns in our side. Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez from the Astros, and then obviously Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez on the Royals. It seems like those 4 guys really hurt us more times than not, and same thing with Kerry Carpenter. 1-2 pitch, hard hit ball in the left field, out of play. And again, I'm getting Castillo's pitch count up, and that's 4 straight foul balls Carpenter has fouled off on Luis Castillo. He definitely has a very good eye for the game. Langeliers, Rooker, and Carpenter. Those are the top 3 guys based off home runs that have hurt us. But again, we see those guys pretty often, right? With Langeliers and Rooker, we face the A's often. So for those guys to go off on us, not surprised either. Pitch is low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kerry Carpenter. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees again. Back-to-back changeups, 88 miles an hour. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Kerry Carpenter. Come on, Castillo. 3-2 pitch, popped up. And Randy is there. Get it, Randy. And there we go. In fair territory, Randy hustles and gets to that ball. 1 up and 1 down. Great job, Randy Arosarena. And again, that's what we're going to need out of Castillo today, right? We're going to need a lot of pop-ups. We're going to need ground balls. We're going to need double plays. We're going to be able to hopefully throw some guys out, from going from first to second. We're going to need a little bit of everything, to be able to get this victory. And I hope that we end up bunting, once or twice here today for some small ball. Next up is Kevin McGonigal. First pitch is crushed into right field and out of play. Slider 87 miles an hour by Luis Castillo. And McGonigal is a phenom, just like Munetaka Murakami for the White Sox and our guy, Colt Emerson. I mean, this is one of the best rookie classes that the MLB has seen in the last 10 to 15 years. Very exciting that both of these teams have a guy that's going to be up and coming for many, many years to come. 1 pitch, low and away, change up 88 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Kevin McGonigal. One pitch, popped up into shallow left field. 3 Mariners are converging on the play, but unfortunately it goes over the netting and into the front row. Good awareness by the Mariners. At least we got guys hustling to try to get every single out. And again, when you end up having your worst starter on the mound, and we're going with a 6-man rotation right now, thankfully, so that way we don't ruin Bryce Miller. Bryce did not deserve the splits with Castillo. And I'm glad they finally realized if you're going to start Castillo, fine, but it's not going to be for the whole season. And I would rather have him in the pen, but so be it. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And I like that. Anytime you can get a strikeout out of Castillo in the first inning, that's a good sign of things to come. Great job there by Luis Castillo. And that is 2 up and 2 down. Next up is Gleyber Torres. First pitch to Torres, big swing and a miss, got a foul tip to go in Pareda's glove, 0-1 count. And I really like the fact that we got Pareda out there instead of Garver. It's a huge upgrade, and Pareda has shown that he's a better catcher, can call a better game as of late, and a better hitter. 0-1 pitch, high and away, 1 ball and 1 strike to Gleyber Torres. And it's really great to be able to see Dominic Canzone start to really hone in and tear it up. He's been one of the hottest hitters as of late for the Mariners, and again, had an amazing game yesterday, and hopefully that hot streak will continue. Rebecca in the building, how are you? 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Good start here early. Oh, it looks like he actually got a little foul tip on that one. 4-seam fastball, 97 miles an hour, back behind the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Gleyber Torres. Shout out to our female audience like Rebecca, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. 1-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking. Here we go. 2 punch outs out of our worst pitcher, Luis Castillo. I think we can all agree that's going to be a phenomenal start. And again, there's been times when, Castillo as a Tigers challenge and lose. There's been times where Castillo has given up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs in the first inning. So for him to come out clean, and we have a strong lefty lineup, great job there by Luis Castillo. Let's go. Way to bring that electricity early. I got one of 2 new tracks here from Brooks Beats that we're going to be debuting here. And again, we'll do them probably back to back. And again, shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. One of the most talented people that I have ever met. And I'm really honored to be his friend, and someone that, that we can push each other to achieve greatness together. And we also ended up breaking 6.1 million views on the channel yesterday. And I thought we were getting close to 6, but when I ended up checking the stats, we're at 6.1 million views. And that is obviously because of all of you. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Next up in the 4-hole, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Batting second in right field in the 5-hole, Luke Raley. And batting third in the 6-hole, DHing Dominic Canzone. Right hand sub, let's go M's. 75 subs to go to 24,300. Looks like we gained another sub as well. $74 subs to go to 24,300. And we're at 37 likes. Good start. $63 to 100. And we're still looking for our first dono on the dono train. And it definitely allows me to go through more, buttons, since they haven't fixed the issue just yet. And a hard hit ball by Randy Arozarena into shallow center field. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Wenzel Perez ended up getting that ball, 1 up and 1 down. But again, I feel like with the baseball cards in between the photos is going to be the cleanest, rather than you seeing my mug, in between and having the header disappear. I had to kind of think outside of the box. I have been reaching out to StreamYard, and we've been going back and forth. And hopefully their engineers can fix the issue. That way we can have photos with no delays in between, even though it's only a short delay, like a half second in between. But we want things to be streamlined and clean. And, if I'm paying them $45 a month, on top of my internet bill to use this particular streaming program, I expect it to work perfectly, and if not, then I have to look for an alternative. But again, I want to be able to do the music and the photos and the ticker, and some of those other streaming platforms don't allow you to really use those. First pitch to Luke Raley, fouls it off, 0-1 count. Captain with a tenner, appreciate you. 0-1 pitch, high and away with the knuckle curve there from Flaherty, 77 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. See if we can get a nuke out of Luke. 1-1 pitch, hard hit ball, deep left field, all the way back to the wall, and it deflects off the wall, and Luke sliding in head first and safe. Let's go. Great job there by Luke Rayleigh and captain, getting us started off on some good juju, and I like that, baby. $10 holla, 90 to go on the Dono train. DL Miller in the building. What's good? And Dominic Canzone with the line drive to first base. And that is out number 2. Good defense there by Detroit. Next up is Patrick Wisdom. And hopefully we'll be able to get Dom and a few of the others like Cole to kind of work the count a little bit. And we know how good Dominic Canzone has been as of late. Next up is Patrick Wisdom. First pitch into Wisdom is a ball, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes from Flaherty to Wisdom. Hawks in the building. What's good? Two-0 pitch. Foul tip into the glove there to Dylan Dingler. 2 balls and 1 strike from Flaherty to Wisdom. Top of the second inning with a runner at second and 2 outs. Luke Rayleigh with a really hard hit ball off the wall to get a sliding double. And let's see if Wisdom can knock him home. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. Knuckle curve fooling Wisdom there. Bottom dropped out of that pitch dramatically at the end of that run. 79-mile-an-hour knuckle curve by Flaherty. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second, Luke Rayleigh, and 2 outs. 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. Two pitch. And that is a big swing and a miss, and down goes Wisdom. We end up leaving a runner stranded, Luke Rayleigh at second, but at least we ended up getting someone on board early. Castillo's looking good early on, and hopefully that will continue, considering he has our worst pitcher. But on the flip side, Flaherty is one of their worst. He even has a worse record than Castillo, and we have our strong lefty lineup since Flaherty is a right-handed pitcher. So even with Castillo on the mound, I still think that we can win this series and win this game with Castillo. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Tigers as we go to the bottom of the second inning. It also gives you guys an idea of what the background looks like with baseball cards. Obviously, that you haven't really seen the full outlook of it until just now. Next up, in the 4-hole, left fielder Riley Green, a great offensive player and a hell of a defender in left field. He's already made 3 or 4 diving grabs, robbing us of singles and doubles. Hopefully, he doesn't do it here today. Batting second in the 5-hole, catcher Dylan Dingler. And batting third in the 6-hole, third baseman Colt Keith. Tight ends up. Let's go M's. 74 subs to go to 24,300. We're at 10 on the Dono train because of Captain. I appreciate you. 90 to go. And we're at 42 likes so far. $58 to $100. We got another one we're debuting here, and this one is a little bit different. It almost kind of feels like a club, type of vibe, but I want to make sure, that we can show kind of his range on what he can do. And, anything that you think of, he can do it. It really doesn't matter what genre. And, again, shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. It sounds like, Cal will be doing some, double A, triple A, kind of working on his skill set there. And again, once he ends up getting, fully healthy, hopefully we'll be able to see him before the All-Star break. But it's kind of sounding like it could possibly be mid to late June. But if he has any setbacks, they may just wait until after the All-Star break. But whatever they decide, it has to be obviously, up to Cal. You don't want to rush him back too soon. So. Big swing and a miss there for Riley Green. No balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Green. Second inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. So hopefully it goes well. Obviously, they're in the farm system for Cal. But Donnie, Miles Mastroboni, and Carlos Vargas are all due back around June 4th, June 5th. So we'll see what happens with those three, and hopefully they don't have setbacks either. 1-2 pitch, low and away, changeup, 87 miles an hour, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Riley Green. I mean, as long as we're able to stay afloat and win, and we can wait until after the All-Star break, that would probably be the best. But again, if he's ready before then, we'll take him. Pitch fouled off, high and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Riley Green. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. There we go, baby. Nice job there by Luis Castillo. I like what I'm seeing here early. And again, for a guy that is not really very trustworthy, getting the job done here early. And believe it or not, Castillo with 3 Ks already. I like that. Next up is Dylan Dingler. On deck will be Colt Keith. First pitch in there to Dingler is in there for a strike, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away with the slider, 85 miles an hour, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Dingler. Bottom of the second inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. 1-1 pitch from Castillo, high and away. Sinker missing. And Castillo looks like he's, loose out there. He's not pressing, and as long as he lets the game come to him and, he doesn't have a meltdown and he can keep his cool, I think things will be hopefully somewhat decent and the bats will hopefully come alive and help him out. 2-1 pitch, high and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Dylan Dingler. But we're probably going to need a couple diving, grabs. We're probably going to need a double play or 2 to kind of, help him out when he starts to lose his mojo. And, that fatigue and him losing, his spots, usually something that happens after the 3rd inning. 3-1 pitch popped up and out of play there by Dingler. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the second inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. Three-two pitch and a hard hit ball in the shallow center field. Julio Rodriguez is there, baby. No fly zone. 2 up and 2 down. Nice job there by J-Rod. We love it. Next up in the 6th hole is Colt Keith. On deck is Spencer Torkelson. First pitch fouled off there from Luis Castillo by Colt Keith. Sinker right down the middle, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. 2 balls at 2 strikes from Castillo to Keith, and Castillo's locked in so far. I mean, again, there's been games where he hasn't got a K at all, or got a K maybe around the 5th or 6th inning at the very end. So for him to have 3 already, that's definitely better than expected. 0-2 pitch, popped up and out of play there by Colt Keith. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. He's got some good velocity right now. It's just about being able to get a little bit of help with the defense behind him. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. Yeah, I want small ball today. I want to see us bunt once or twice today. 0-2 pitch, hard hit ball, shallow right field. Luke Rayleigh is there, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Good job there by the defense, bailing out Castillo. End of the second inning, 0-0, Mariners and Tigers. Let's see who's up next here for Seattle. Next up for the Mariners in the 8-hole, shortstop phenom Cole Emerson. Batting second in the 9-hole, backup catcher Johnny Pereda, who's been really hitting the ball and catching very well, filling in for Cal Raleigh. This could be our future backup catcher to Cal if they move on from Mitch Garver after this season. And batting third, leading off for J.P. Crawford due to the injury, him getting in the hand, hitting on the hand by Framber Valdez, Cole Clutch Young. Right ends up. Let's go M's. All right. Captain says we're at 50. I like that. $50 likes, 50 to go, 74 subs to go to 24,300. All right, 10 on the dono train, 90 to go. And we ended up just hitting 6.1 million views on the channel, which is definitely very exciting. Even Rick Riz, he loves it. Try dance up. Let's go M's. And on the mound for the Tigers, 1-7 record, ERA of 5.31, Jack Flaherty. Thankfully, he's not a lefty. And also, we are blessed to be able to have a matchup with, two bad pitchers. And again, it's not often that we get someone that's got a worse record or a similar ERA. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the third inning, 0-0 here early between the Mariners and the Tigers. First pitch from Flaherty to Emerson, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch with the knuckle curve, low and away. And is this being challenged here? No balls and 2 strikes to Colt Emerson. Colt is challenging, and it gets overturned. Good challenge there by Colt. 1 ball and 1 strike from Flaherty to Emerson. There's going to be a lot of people that we're going to be looking at the deadline, but we don't really know who's going to be available, And again, Screwball is not an option. We already have a great pitching staff, and we have Sloan and Kate Anderson in the farm. So any Mariner fan that, thinks that we're going to get Screwball is out of their mind, and we don't need him. There's definitely other positions that are more of a need, like obviously, bullpen, pitching, if we could end up adding a few guys into the bullpen, whether they're starters on other teams or bullpen pitchers and bolstering the bullpen, even though we do have one of the top 3 bullpens already. I wouldn't mind us being the number 1 bullpen in baseball, considering, you never know with injuries. And if they move on from Castillo, that could end up bringing, a pitcher like that over possibly, or a couple. And again, you could always use another bat in the lineup as well. And a hard hit ball by Emerson that goes all the way to the Corona sign at the wall. And that's a stand-up double there by Colt Emerson. What a fucking stud. There we go. Now, World Cup is going to be very interesting as well. Next up is Johnny Pereda. Let's go, Johnny. On deck will be Cole Clutch Young. And Paredes showing bunt on the first play. Pulls back, 0-1 count. And again, I wouldn't mind, seeing a couple guys drop a bunt down. Even a guy like Cole Young, who's, obviously kind of hit or miss in the lineup. Sometimes, he'll go 0 for 4, no more than 0 for 8 in, back-to-back games. And a little dribbler towards third base, throw to first, go tap on the bag, and that moves Colt over to third. Good job there by Johnny Pareda. Just the same as him bunting or getting a pop up, deep in center or right field. All right, next up is Cole Clutch Young, and we got his buddy Colt Emerson now at third base with one out, and we have a good opportunity here to be able to get on the board here in the third inning. Yeah, Pareda is definitely got to be a guy that we keep on the team. He's better than Garver. And a hard hit ball by Cole Young, RBI single, and Colt Emerson comes home. And I'm telling you, Colt and Cole together is going to bring magic for the Mariners. And we've been talking about it for years, and now you're starting to see it happen in front of your very eyes. Big RBI there, hard hit ball into right field, dropping, and Colt Emerson easily scoring from third. 1-0 Seattle. Let's go. Let's win this series, baby. We got our worst pitcher on the mound. Let's get it done. First pitch from Flaherty to Julio. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Colt with the jolt. You're on it, Hawks. Bauer will never be able to make a comeback because of his attitude, and again, there was some things that were in the news, obviously that weren't very good, based off his reputation and whatnot. And again, you can play in Japan, you can play overseas, but I don't see him, no matter how good he gets against lower competition, he could end up having an ERA under 2, and he could be 10-2, and no team is going to come a-calling, because he's a distraction, in the clubhouse. And when you get a guy that's more about himself than the team, it's a hard pass, and I don't think he'll make it back into the league, because if he was going to make it back in the league, he would have already been in the league. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. I did. The young and Young Jr. I did see that. Our first base coach, obviously named Young as well. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there from Julio. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Flaherty to Julio Rodriguez. Top of the third inning with a runner at first, Cole Young with 1 out, and Cole Young with a big RBI single into right. And we're starting to see a few guys, get some good base knocks early. Luke Raley with that double off the wall, and then obviously now with Emerson and Young. And a little blooper into right field, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Gary Carpenter getting that. Down goes Julio, flying out to right. Next up, first baseman Josh Naylor. And on deck is Randy Arozarena. First pitch is low and away with the knuckle curve, 77 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Yeah, like I said, I do a lot of reading and a lot of film study, and I'm covering, not only the Mariners, but every team in baseball. So there's a lot that, I have to go over, even guys over, overseas and whatnot. So keeping an eye on some, Japanese prospects. And obviously we've seen kind of the Japanese movement lately, with Munetaka Murakami and a few others. And it's definitely good for the game. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Flaherty to Naylor. 2-0 pitch, low and at the knees, getting the corner, four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike from Flaherty to Naylor. Runners in scoring position has always been kind of an issue for us, but it is an issue for every team. And really, it just comes down to who we're going against pitching-wise, and if we have a lefty lineup in or a righty lineup, right? And we know when we go against a left-handed pitcher like we did in Game 1 with Framber Valdez, no disrespect to Mitch Garver, Victor Robles, or Rob Refsnyder, even though he had a pretty good game, that's a huge downgrade. That's 3 guys in the lineup that you really don't have any hope, more times than not, to really do anything positive, and you hope that they can get on once or twice, but a lot of times they don't, right? Popped up into shallow third base, and that is out number 3. But again, with a strong lefty lineup and back-to-back games, we should be able to, do a little bit better. And on top of that, we have 2 pitchers on the mound with Castillo and Flaherty that aren't very good, right? They have bad records, ERAs above 5. So there should be a little bit more wiggle room where we should be able to get to 5 runs hopefully today. And hopefully the Tigers, we can keep them as low as possible. So, and again, we're going to go on the road. And, when you're on the road compared to being at home, it's much more difficult to kind of hone in, even when you're going against a team that doesn't have a very good record. The Tigers are below 500. The Orioles, really aren't the greatest team this season. And then we got the Nationals. So on paper, it looks like, wow, we could go 9-1 or 8-2. But the reality is when you go on the road, things aren't going to be as easy and smooth than at home at T-Mobile. So it's realistic that we could go, 6-4 or maybe worse. Hopefully, the worst that we would do would probably be 3-7, but that would be if we had injuries and other crazy shit that happened. But I think that we should be able to go 6-4, I'm hoping, or better. And again, we'll just see kind of where the ball drops as we go from one game to the next. Now let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning and see who's up next here for the Tigers. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Tigers in the 7-hole, first baseman Spencer Torkelson. Batting second in the 8-hole, second baseman Zach McKinstry. And batting third in the 9-hole, center fielder today, Wencel Perez. And on the mound for the Mariners, 2-5 record, ERA of 5.53 coming into the game, Luis Castillo, but he's doing good. 2 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks. That's a big key for Mariner pitchers. And 3 Ks, 34 pitches, 24 strikes, 5.34 ERA, and we got some offense with Young singling to right with Emerson scoring. So, again, giving a Castillo a lead is obviously essential for our success. First pitch from Castillo to Spencer Torkelson, 1-0 count. And we got Cal Raleigh and Everett today. And then eventually after the Everett, matchup, he'll go to the AAA Tacoma Rainiers for a game or 2. And Torkelson pops up into right field. Luke Raley is there, and that is 1 up and 1 down. So we'll get a few rehab starts for Cal, and we'll see where it goes. Yeah, one of his ribs ended up, getting fractured. And again, we know that he's a rival, to the Mariners and whatnot. But obviously when Judge is playing baseball, it's good for the game, just like Ohtani and a few of the others. And Munetaka Murakami ended up having the hammy. Now Judge is out. So 2 out of the top 4 guys, with home runs, with obviously Schwarber and Ohtani still intact for now. Injuries are something that you can't escape. And we've obviously done our fair share with injuries with Cal and obviously Brandon Donovan. And I am excited to hopefully get back Mastroboni and Carlos Vargas to hopefully have a positive role with the team around the same time, around June 4th, June 5th for Brandon Donovan. Not only him, but Miles Mastroboni and Carlos Vargas, which we haven't seen all season just yet. 0-2 pitch to McKinstry. Big swing and a miss. And another punch out there by Luis Castillo. And again, he didn't have one of his best starts, a few games back, and starting to kind of hone in. Another punch out there for Castillo, and that is number 4. Let's go. Great job there by Luis Castillo, La Piedra. First pitch in there to Wencel Perez, 0-1 count. Yeah, I was actually looking up some of the stats and seeing the Nationals. Obviously Wood is an incredible player, but no one would have ever predicted that they would have the most runs scored. But again, on top of that, giving up a lot of runs too. But again, it's not going to be easy. No one who we play on the road will be easy. I mean, you could literally go against the worst team in baseball, that only has a few wins, and we could go to their, stadium and still end up only winning a game or getting swept. But, the way that we've been playing lately, I like our chances not only winning this series, but the Orioles series next is a 4-game set. So we have to hopefully win 3 out of 4 and then 2 out of 3 against the Nationals, unless we're lucky enough to sweep the Orioles or the Nats. But I don't know. It might be pretty tough considering we're going to be in their stadium, not ours. Now, if we were in T-Mobile, depending on who's playing, you would have a better chance of probably sweeping at T-Mobile the Orioles and the Nationals. But again, I still feel pretty confident that we can win 3 out of 4 against the O's and obviously 2 out of 3 against the Nats. O2 pitch is fouled off high and inside. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Perez. And Perez fouls it off himself on his leg, and now he's starting to limp towards first base. Hopefully he's okay. And we've seen a lot of people, kind of deflect, some of the hits, onto their own body, or having a ball get deflected from the, batter in the batter's box, to the catcher somewhere where there's no padding, or a nasty deflection onto the ump behind them. And we've seen it pretty often, here this season in 2026. As they show Skubal there on the screen. And obviously he's got Seattle ties, but, we don't want to break up what we got going chemistry-wise, and again, we'll see where Skubal lands, and Wencel Perez is still down as he fouls this one off himself. And it got him right in the inner thigh, close to the groin, but more into the inner thigh. And obviously you got no padding there. So if you get hit in that particular area, I imagine some guys are wearing cups and probably others are just, wearing traditional, boxers or whatever underneath their gear. And again, anytime you end up getting a deflection, from the bat to the ball, and then it gets you kind of close into that growing inner thigh area, it definitely is going to leave a strawberry and a big bruise for Perez. I hope he's okay. It really just depends with, Andres Munoz, if he gets better, and again, it's like we got Brash, we got Jose Ferrer, you got 2 other guys that could do it. I don't think Gabe would be someone that we want to have as a closer, but Ferrer and Brash could take over that role. But I really think that, for Mooney, the only way that you'll have a new guy in there is if he gets hurt. They're not going to replace him, it doesn't look like. So 0-2 pitch, a little slow dribbler towards first. And foul, but again, it's kind of rare to have a guy who's top 5, top 10 normally, and to kind of be like a bottom 10, but he has been kind of getting a little bit better as of late. I still don't really trust him, but again, look at Castillo. He hasn't been really trustworthy all year, but lately, within the last couple starts, he's been getting better. It took him a hell of a lot longer than Logan Gilbert and all the rest, but, better late than ever, but, again, we used to have Edwin Diaz, remember him? And then we had Sewald, with Mooney, so we had other guys in the past, but, it seems like quite a few of these closers get hurt, and, it's hard to be able to find a consistent one. But we will see if they decide, to move on. But, based on Dan Wilson and Scott Service, they manage the game very similar. They just kind of put the guys out there and hope they figure it out instead of actually managing the team sometimes. And hopefully, Mooney will get better. 1-2 pitch. Popped up and out away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Castillo to Perez. But at least we already have 2 backups, if needed. They won't put Brash there, but Jose Ferrer was the closer for the Nationals for half the season last year. So that would be the most natural progression if they moved on from Mooney. And a deflection there off Colt Emerson. And Young scrambling to get that ball to make sure Perez doesn't go to second. And after deflecting a ball off his inner thigh and going down for a few minutes, Perez battling it out on pitch number 9 and getting a nice base knock. And normally Emerson and Young are going to be clean, obviously in the infield, but every once in a while with a hard hit ball, it's just going to get past you. It's going to hit your, mitt. It's going to hit your wrist. It's going to end up taking a weird bounce. And, it happens. But hopefully we'll be able to get him out here. Popped up there by Kerry Carpenter, and Randy Arozarena runs in to make the play, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Great job there by Randy. And again, we'll just kind of wait and see, because what we see out of Mooney this year, obviously it's mental and it's physical, right? His grip on his slider is not good, and obviously he's in his own head, right? So if we can get to a point, where he figures it out, maybe next year he turns back into the player that we all know and love, but again, if he ends up having another bad year, then, at some point you got to make a move, but again, Seattle, with Dan Wilson, not really likely to make a move with him, but, hopefully Mooney will get better. Cause again, if we're trying to make the World Series, having a guy like Mooney, how he's played this year, we won't be able to get there, because again, a lot of these games are going to be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, and we need to hang on to that 1-run lead. Or if the game is tied, we can't go down 3-2 when you come into the game, Mooney, so again, it's like if Mooney has a 2-run lead or more, usually we're safe. But if the game is tied and we only have a 1-run lead, how many times has he given up a run? Feels like a bunch, right? So hopefully he'll get better. But again, that's the kind of situation that we're in at the moment. All right, end of the third inning, 1-0 Seattle. Let's see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 0-for-1 left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting second in the 5-hole, 1-for-1 with a double off the wall, right fielder Luke Raley. Let's go, Luke. Get a nuke. And batting third, 0-for-1, the Italian Stallion, DHing today, Dominic Canzone, one of the hottest hitters in baseball as of late. Nice job, Dom. Let's keep it going. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 74 subs to go. Do 24,300. We just broke 6.1 million views last night, which is fantastic. Gained another sub on the channel as well. Shout out to our female audience, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. We're at 10 on the dono train, 90 to go because of Captain. Appreciate you. First pitch to Randy, fouls it back. Out of play, 0-1 count. And we're at 63 likes. 37 to 100. One pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Dank in the building. What's good? Yes, he is. And again, usually he's good for about 3 innings, and usually the meltdown starts to happen after the 3rd inning, but maybe today will be a different story. Again, he did pitch a pretty good game when he had that split start with Bryce, and remember, he was kind of crying and complaining and, throwing the mid around when Dan pulled him, but again, Bryce never deserved that split with Luis. Bryce has been our hottest pitcher, since he has come back from the injury. And normally when you have an injury, you are usually worse than what you were. But for Bryce, he's actually better than maybe he's ever been in his career. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Arozarena, and that is 1 away. Most doubles through the team's first 65 games. Edgar Martinez, 34 at number 1. It's a lot of doubles. Wayner, Mark Grace, the OG there from the Cubs. Webb, Worthington, and a few others. It's a small sample that we've seen out of Bryce so far. And also you have to remember, if Bryce is actually getting right-handed pitching on the opposite end, that means he's going to get the stronger lefty lineup. But if you got Bryce on the mound and we got a lefty on the mound against him, and then we have Ref Snyder in there, with Garver, and Robles, with no Dominic Canzone, no Johnny Pareda, and no Luke Raley, Bryce isn't going to probably look as good. Again, and obviously pitching and hitting is different, but, there's going to be games where if Bryce ends up landing and going against a team that's got a lefty on the mound, obviously things might even out. And we just got to hope that Wu and Kirby can get on the Miller level. And right now it kind of feels like it's, Miller at the top, and then maybe Emerson Hancock. And then obviously we know Wu and Kirby have been not very good the last couple starts, and then Gilbert and then Castillo on the back end. But again, there's a lot of wiggle room. We got 6 starters. We got one of the top 10 pitching staffs in baseball, top 3 bullpens in baseball. We're one of the most dominant, pitching staffs overall. And we just got to slowly but surely just try to put it together. 2 balls and 1 strike to Luke Raley. But as of right now, Bryce by far looks the best, even though it is a small sample. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Flaherty to Raley. 2-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. Count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Hey, 31, I'm 44 and I feel like I'm 21, and again, I'm always going to be, high spirited and whatnot. And obviously age is just a number. It really just depends on, your lifestyle and, what you eat and how much you exercise and how you kind of approach life. But 31, that ain't going to be nothing for you, man. I'm 44 and I feel like I'm 21. So big swing and a miss. Down goes Raley. And that is 2 up and 2 down. And turning 31, nothing to be sad about, my guy. Next up is Dominic Canzone. First pitch to Canzone with the line drive. McKinstry is there, throw to first, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning and see who's up next here for the Tigers. Next up for the Tigers, 0 for 1 with a K, shortstop, the phenom Kevin McGonigal. Batting second, 0 for 1 with a K, DHing in the 3-hole, the former Yankee Gleyber Torres. And batting third in the 4-hole, left fielder Riley Green. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Castillo playing well. 3 innings pitch, 1 hit, no earned runs, no walks, which is key. We don't want to be walking a lot of guys or hitting a lot of guys. 4 Ks, 49 pitches, 37 strikes with a 5.25 ERA. And then on the flip side for Flaherty, 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 5 Ks, 56 pitches, 37 strikes with a 5.11 ERA. So for guys that don't have very good records, Flaherty 1-7 coming into the game, Castillo 2-5. And Flaherty's ERA coming in was 5.31, Castillo 5.53. Pretty similar, but again, and also similar with the Ks, Flaherty with 5 and Castillo with 4. It's a low-scoring affair. And again, we possibly thought this could end up being a game where both pitchers were terrible and it could be like a 9-8 game. And sometimes games like that, can be fun to watch, but I'm kind of happy it's lower scoring and that both pitchers are doing well. And eventually the bats will open up maybe when these guys exit, and hopefully we'll be able to get a few home runs as well. Still plenty of time to be able to get to 5 runs. Rebecca and Lauren in the building. What's good? 73 subs to go to 24,300. We just broke 6.1 million views on the channel, so I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to our female audience in the room. It's growing on the daily. And let's take a look to see where we're at. We're at 10 on the dono train, 90 to go, and we're at 69 likes, 31,200. First pitch to McGonigal, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. 1-0 count. And a hard hit ball there by McGonigal, back, and gone. And there's the first home run that Castillo gave up. It was the 4th inning, and like I mentioned, usually he's good for about 3 innings, and then when you get to the 4th inning and beyond, that's usually where, there might be a little bit of trouble. Kevin McGonigal is just like Colt Emerson, a big phenom and a big home run to right, and now the game is tied 1-1, and we just got to hope that Castillo gives up 3 runs or less. Remember, his ERA is closer to 5 and 6, so he is our worst pitcher on the staff, 6 out of 6. McGonigal is a phenom, and we just have to be happy that wasn't a 2-run jack, 3-run bomb, or a grand salami. It's just a matter of time, before Castillo gives up something, and hopefully that'll be the only home run that he gives up in the next couple innings. Again, when you watch this team as closely as I do, and for some of you in the room, you always have an idea of when things are going to be good and when potentially things could go a little sideways. 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss to Gleyber Torres. 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to Torres. But again, with Castillo on the mound, it's not like we expect him to keep the Tigers at 0. He's our worst pitcher. So we just have to hope that when the damage comes, it's minimal, 1 run at a time. And hopefully the bats will be able to heat up, for the Mariners side, and then we'll be able to win this game, whether it ends up being 3-1 or, 5-3 or whatever it may be. But we got to be able to get this series win. We got a 4-game set against Baltimore next on the road, and then a 3-game set against the Nationals on the road as well. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Gleyber Torres. And hopefully his confidence isn't too shaken. Obviously it's not ideal giving up a home run, so. 2-2 pitch, popped up into right field, out of play. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, we're knotted up at 1. Obviously, a big RBI by Cole Young, bringing Colt Emerson home from third in the 3rd inning, 1-0 Mariners. And Kevin McGonigal, a phenom there for the Tigers, a rookie, 420 feet, homering to right, smoking it out of the park, and knotting the game up at 1-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gleyber Torres. 2-2 pitch, fouled off. High and inside, tried to jam him, and it goes out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, and a good game here today, Sunday morning, between the Mariners and the Tigers. Try to ends up. Let's go, M's. Two pitch, high and away, missing that 4-seam fastball by just a few inches there. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Gleyber Torres. 3-2 pitch, little dribbler up the middle. Wow! Cole Young and Josh Naylor, a great tag team for defense there. And a difficult, very, very difficult play there by Young, throwing on the run. Naylor having to stretch his body. But again, Cole Young, nothing really surprises me when you get a player of his caliber. Great job there by Cole Young, and great job by Josh Naylor as well at first base. It's just nice to be able to have 2 guys that you can trust at key positions at first base and at second base. Great job. And Luke Raley and Julio Rodriguez almost run into each other there. And thankfully they have a little hug there, and that could have been disaster. But a hard hit ball there by Riley Green, and Luke Raley not getting distracted from Julio running in right in front of him. And thankfully bailing out Luis Castillo as he holds his head, hoping that they don't collide into each other. Good, obviously, job there by the no-fly zone. Good job by Luke Raley, 2 up and 2 down. Next up is Dylan Dingler. First pitch into Dingler, takes a strike looking with the slider, 86 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss on Dingler. Sinker 95 miles an hour, low and at the knees. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, 1-1, Mariners and Tigers. Castillo on the mound, Dingler in the box. Oh-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 4th inning, we are tied at 1. One-two pitch from Castillo, high and away. They call strike 3. It is being challenged. It looked outside to me, but it might have hit the corner. So let's see if we can end up getting this call. ABS by Dingler. And good call there by Dingler. It definitely looked outside when I saw it live. And good challenge there by the Tigers. And now the count is going to remain 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Dingler. 2-2 pitch. And just gets a piece of that sinker as it goes towards third and foul. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Definitely a winnable game. Two bad pitchers on the mound, but both are playing well, up to this point. Now we just need the bats to come alive. 2-2 pitch from Castillo. Low and away. Four-seam fastball. Tries to paint the corner and misses it by a few inches. Good at bat here for Dingler. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Dingler. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 3-2 pitch. Popped up into right field and out of play. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Dingler. Three-two pitch. Little dribbler towards third. Emerson is there. Strong throw to first. Got him. Let's go. Here we go. All right, end of the 4th inning, 1-1, Mariners and Tigers. Next up for the Mariners in the 7-hole 0-for-1 with a K, third baseman Patrick Wisdom. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a run, shortstop our phenom, Colt Emerson. And batting third, 0-for-1 in the 9-hole, catcher Johnny Pareda. And again, at least Dan Wilson is smart enough to realize, that if somebody is hot, you got to continue to play them, And again, nice to be able to have Pareda out there. No disrespect against Mitch Garver, but Pareda has been playing better lately. And honestly, having Johnny play almost every day would be probably better, than going back and forth, one game to the next, and splitting between Pareda and Garver. But again, nice to see Pareda playing 2 games in a row. But also we don't want, another injury to happen. And hopefully Cal will be able to get back on track. Obviously, in the farm system, we'll have a couple of rehab starts and we'll see where it goes. End of the 4th inning, we're tied up at 1. 73 subs to go to 24,300. We're at 10 on the dono train, 90 to go. Shout out to Captain. And we are at 79 likes with 220 in the room. We're almost there. 21 to 100. If we can get 21 people out of 222 to hit the like button, we'll be at 100. Jack Flaherty on the mound. Patrick Wisdom in the box. And I got to kind of go through more, button clicks and, to kind of go through it. But I think, with the cards, in between the photos, that's going to be the best look until they fix the issue. And hopefully they'll end up getting it fixed today or tomorrow. But obviously this is the 3rd stream that we've had to kind of manage, since they did their update. And again, there shouldn't be any pauses in between the pictures. Everything should be streamlined. But I've emailed them like 3 times and they've been going back and forth with me. And hopefully I'll get an email from the engineers either today or tomorrow. And hopefully they'll be able to fix that issue. But in the meantime, having the cards in between in the background, obviously is going to be the cleanest that we'll be able to have for the time being. And a hard hit ball by Patrick Wisdom on the first pitch on the knuckle curve. Rolls into left field. Nice job there by Patrick Wisdom. First pitch is low and at the knees from Flaherty to Emerson, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, and a little foul tip there by Colt Emerson. 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at first and no outs. Top of the 5th inning, 1-1, Mariners and Tigers. Absolutely angry. I mean, the farm system has got a lot of pieces. Obviously, we got some, good skill position players that we got with Cole Young and Colt Emerson. We have Ryan Sloan and Cade Anderson. For the most part, even though Sloan's last start yesterday was a little raw, but obviously both guys, are going to be a part of this team sooner than later. Sloan probably next year, and Cade Anderson probably after the All-Star break, unless they decide to wait until next year for both. But I think Cade could really help us in the bullpen. And if there's an injury, and if we end up trading Castillo away, you could always slide Cade into the 5 spot, and I think that he would actually do pretty damn good. Big swing and a miss there from Emerson, and that is 1 up and 1 down. And then we got Lazaro Montez, who plays right field in the farm. I mean, we got a lot of guys, that aren't really ready just yet, but there's a few, to kind of keep an eye on. Lazaro Montez, the right fielder, but obviously Cade Anderson is the number 1, Ryan Sloan 2, and then Lazaro Montez and a few others are all probably tied for 3, 4, or 5 after that. So first pitch from Flaherty to Pareda, takes a strike looking low and away, 0-1 count. But we don't really know when Lazaro is going to be ready. It still could end up being a few years out, but, with Sloan, could be next year. And, Cade Anderson, it could be this year. And obviously, I wouldn't mind having those guys help us try to win. Especially if you ended up putting Sloan and Cade in the pen, to kind of replace some of the other guys that may have not been really that great as of late. But they're still not ready just yet. But Cade is getting close. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Johnny Pareda. I mean, every team could use more help in the pen. That's going to be the position group that's going to win you or lose you more games than any other position group in baseball. So, but our starting pitching staff is good besides Castillo, but again, he's doing decent here today. 2-2 pitch. And a little line drive there, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Down goes Pareda. Next up is Cole Clutch Young. Yeah, I mean, it really just depends on what we need, at the time, and sometimes, they don't want to rush guys too soon, but again, at some point, you got to let young guys do their thing, and again, it's good to have a blend of young and old, and we don't really have a lot of old players on the team, but you know what I mean, guys that have been, on the team for 4 or 5 years or longer. I guess those guys would be considered more of the vets and whatnot. 0-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Flaherty to Young, but again, there definitely will be a few spots that might be open. We may or may not have JP Crawford on the team next year. If he takes less money and is willing to be a role player, then I wouldn't mind having him back. But Castillo definitely needs to go, whether, it ends up being at the trade deadline or next season. Again, we already have enough of pitchers, and he definitely is the weakest link, even though he's looked good here today. And again, at some point, Cade Anderson will be the new 5 at some point, just like Brian Wu was a few years ago. And I really do believe, once Cade gets called up and he ends up being a starter, at some point, Cade could end up being the 2nd or 3rd best pitcher on the staff. I think he's that good, and he's a lefty. So it'll take a little time for him to climb up the ranks, just like Wu did, to go from the 5. And now Wu is in the 3 position, even though Wu should have been probably the opening day starter, and we know that he got hurt last season at the end of the year. And if we would have had a healthy Wu, I think we beat the Blue Jays and we make the World Series. You get Wu for 3 times in a 7-game series based on how he played last year. That could be 3 wins, and then same thing against the Dodgers in the World Series. They have a Yoshinobu Yamamoto, but we got Brian Wu, right? So, and big swing and a miss there for Cole Young, high and away. And down goes Cole Clutch Young, and that is out number 3. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning and see who's up next year for the Tigers. Next up for the Tigers in the 6th hole, third baseman 0 for 1, Colt Keith. Batting second, 0 for 1, first baseman Spencer Torkelson. And batting third, 0 for 1 with a K, second baseman Zach McKinstry. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Castillo, so far, so good. Besides giving up the 1 home run, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run. The home run, obviously, there by McGonigal, the phenom. No walks for Castillo, which is great. 4 Ks, 69 pitches and 50 strikes. 5.31 ERA. And then as far as Flaherty is concerned, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 7 Ks, 72 pitches, 47 strikes with an ERA at 5.03. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 73 more likes to get to 24,300. We hit 6.1 million views yesterday, which is fantastic. We're at 10 on the Dono train, 90 to go. And we're at 84 likes, 16 more to get to 100. We can get 16 people out of the 217 in the room. We'll be at 100. Let's go. And a little dribbler there up the middle. Throw to first, toe tap on the bag, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Well, I got multiple pitch graphs that are up, and I'm watching the game. So, for you, you're probably just watching the game itself, like on Mariners TV and whatnot. But you have to understand, when you get these pitches that are off the plate, just because you see the square on the screen doesn't mean that the ball might nick the corner. And again, in the past, when the ball is outside of the square, oh, it's a ball. And then they do the ABS, and then you find out that it actually paints the corner, and you just get a little nick of the baseball, on the corner. So it may look like this ump is doing a shitty job, but again, with the ABS, it's definitely, keeping a lot of those guys grounded and a little bit more accurate. And everyone's strike zone is going to be a little bit different, based on the square, but a lot of times when it ends up being outside or inside, all it has to do is just hit a piece, of the corner to be considered a strike. Doesn't have to be the whole baseball. So first pitch to Torkelson, takes a strike, looking high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, another strike, looking high and away, no balls and 2 strikes from Spencer Torkelson. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and another punch out there by Castillo. Nice job, La Piedra, getting the job done. And again, one of the better starts that we've seen this year. Remember, he's got an ERA closer to 6 than obviously 1 to 3. And that's punch out number 5 there for Luis Castillo. Great job. Next up is Zach McKinstry. First pitch to McKinstry is low and away. Gets the strike, looking with the sinker. 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, high and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike from Castillo to McKinstry. Because again, if you're looking at MLB.com, ESPN.com, and the game itself, it may not exactly be, exactly the same spot, with some of these pitches. So, I definitely look at many options when we're calling this game. So 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away, change up 87 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. We're tied at 1. And obviously with 2 bad pitchers on the mound, they both have played pretty good so far here today. Little dribbler up the middle. Emerson is there. Strong throw to first, and it gets past Naylor. And that ends up turning into a double there for McKinstry. And I want to see if that was a bad throw by Emerson, or was that just a ball that, Naylor let go past him. Let's look at the replay here again. Looks like a bad throw by Emerson. I mean, it was really, really low, almost towards the bag itself. And again, that throw needs to be higher. Or was that Patrick Wisdom? That was Wisdom. So Wisdom with the error. wasn't Josh's fault. Again, when you end up getting the ball at first, you don't expect it to be as low as the fucking bag, all the way down there. You need to have it a little bit higher. Chest up would be more appropriate. But again, sometimes shit happens, and we know Patrick Wisdom isn't really an everyday player from the beginning of the year. He's a guy that's just filling in, and obviously with JP Crawford being injured, they moved Colt Emerson to shortstop, his natural position, and then we have Wisdom at third until we get Brendan Donovan back. Unfortunate error there by Wisdom. First pitch from Castillo to Perez, fouls it off, low and away, 0-1 count. Now Wisdom with the error. I was gonna say, if that was Emerson, that probably wouldn't have happened, or Young. 0-1 pitch from Castillo to Perez, high and away, sinker at 94 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike to Wencel Perez. 1-1 pitch, foul tip going into the glove there of Johnny Pareda, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Wencel Perez. Luis Castillo on the mound, Wencel Perez in the box. One-two pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Perez. But we got 2 outs. We only need 1 more out, so hopefully the error won't affect us. Two-two pitch. Hard hit ball into right field. Oh, right to Josh Naylor. And there we go. Nice job. I thought it was going to go over Naylor's head, but Naylor was in great position. It went right to him. And a great play there by Josh Naylor, bailing out Wisdom with his error on the previous out. And there we go. And again, it's one thing to get an error, but if it leads to a run, then obviously, that's not great. But, when you get an error and you already have 2 outs and you end up getting the line drive to Josh, then obviously all is forgiven. End of the 5th inning, 1-1, Mariners and Tigers. I'm not sure if we expected it to be low scoring with 2 pitchers that have had a rough time this season, but that's where we're at. Trident sub, let's go M's. Shout out to the legend and the icon, Rick Riz. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2 with a K. Time to get your first hit of the game, and hopefully it's a home run. Center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K. First baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. Trident sub, let's go M's. Not really, Brian. Just because you get rid of Dylan Moore, you bring up Leo Ribas, that necessarily doesn't going to make the World Series. Brian Wu being injured was the real reason why we didn't end up making it. If you didn't even have Dylan Moore all last season, it has nothing to do with the Mariners' run later in the year. But if you think that, then that's you. Acting like Dylan Moore was the reason we didn't make the World Series is laughable. First pitch from Flaherty to Julio. Big swing and a miss. Low and away with the knuckle curve. 79 miles an hour. 0-1 count. One pitch, popped up and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. Who would have meant more to the team at the end of the year? Dylan Moore and Leo Ribas, or not having a healthy Brian Wu when we needed him to pitch 3 games out of a 7-game series and not having access to him at the end of the year. I mean, the reason why we weren't able to advance, are a number of reasons, but not having access to Brian Wu, late against the Blue Jays. And then if we would have had him in the Dodger World Series, who knows what could have happened, but again, Wu was our best pitcher last season and one of our best players overall, besides Cal and a few others. That was the reason why we weren't able to advance. Obviously if we had other guys step up, it would have been nice, but just to say that, if we wouldn't have had Dylan Moore and Leo Rivas, I mean, how many home runs and RBIs is Rivas really going to get you? Is he going to be the difference maker from last season compared to Wu? Not so much. I mean, would have Rivas gotten a few more hits for us? Yeah, but that's not the same kind of impact as, our number one pitcher not being available in Brian Wu. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. 3-2 pitch and a nice little blooper into left field, and Julio getting his first hit of the game. I mean, obviously, we should have got rid of Dylan Moore a lot earlier, but what was the reason why we kept him? Because he could play multiple positions. Even though he couldn't really play multiple positions well, he was a guy that could play multiple positions. So you could put him in left field, center field, right field. You can put him in the infield. He literally could play everything, that was handed to him, probably besides obviously being a catcher, or a pitcher, right? And that was the reason why, I believe, is the reason why they kept him as long as they did. Now, they should have replaced him, weeks and months before that. There's no doubt about that, especially the way that Leo was playing in AAA. But, is Leo on the team right now? So it shows you, just because a guy was good, in AAA, and obviously a guy that was in the farm for 10 years, we were all rooting for Leo. But when we saw Leo this year on the team, obviously his defense was the best part about him, but he couldn't hit. And a nice line drive towards first base by Josh Naylor. It's fair. Julio coming home. And just like that, 2-1 Seattle. Let's go. If Leo was such a good player, he'd still be on the roster right now, not on AAA. So, he was good last year. He battled the farm for 10 years. We were rooting for him, but the bottom line is Leo Rivas is a AAA player. He's just not good enough to be a starter, or even a bench guy on this particular team. And a great double there by Josh Naylor down that first base line. And again, a diving attempt, but just not enough there at first base. Got a little glove on it. And thankfully we were able to get that play to go through. Spencer Torkelson missing that ball, and thankfully he did. 2-1 Seattle. There we go. That's exactly what we needed. Next up is Randy Arozarena. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Flaherty to Arozarena. But I agree that Dylan Moore sucked, but again, we were in a need, with other injuries, that we needed to be able to have a guy that could play multiple positions, but again, that was Dan Wilson that made that call. So 1-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Daniel in the building. What's good? Captain getting us to 100. There we go. Trident sub. Let's go M's. And again, I feel a little bit more hate towards this team based on what happened yesterday and what's happened in this series versus the Tigers, and as well as going back to last year in the ALDS when we ended up beating them. And you got to remember, their manager was on the Astros, when they did all the cheating, and they have Framber Valdez, so they have Astro ties. So it's almost like the Astros 2.0. So I definitely won't have a whole lot of love for this Detroit Tiger team, not only for short term, but for long term. They definitely are right there with the Astros, for us, obviously hating them, and we hate them and they hate us. So, but at least we're not dirty, 2-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. I mean, it's one thing if you want to be able to hit somebody, hit them in the stomach, hit them in the back, but never, ever try to hit someone in the head, and that's the difference, between the Mariners and a lot of these other teams. We will never really intentionally go for someone's head, and again, there's just no room for that in baseball. Pitches low and away. Slider 86 miles an hour there by Flaherty. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at second and no outs. We just took a 2-1 lead, and hopefully we'll be able to add on in this inning. 3 doubles. I love it. Trident's up. Let's go M's. But again, you got to crawl before you walk. We're the only team that's never been to a World Series, but based on the talent that we have, in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully there will be an opportunity once or twice that we'll be able to make it. We may not win the first time that we go, but I wouldn't trade this team or my fandom for, any other team in baseball. So there's a lot of bandwagon fans that are out there that hop on the wagon and, they don't really know what it feels like to lose and to go through the pain and the misery and then to be able to get the joy. So, you get numb to the wins. But for us, we're going to take it, with a grain of salt and know that eventually we'll get there. And now Flaherty is done. Next up is Luke Raley. Power code in the building. What's good? So if you remember in game 1, when Naylor was running towards first base, he almost had a collision with the player. And then obviously yesterday's game, when he was diving into home, he threw off his mitt and then slid into home. And obviously Framber Valdez, who was a former Astro, is probably one of the dirtiest players in the game, if we're really being honest. And he loves to headhunt and injure people, or try to injure people. He hit JP in the hand and injured him. And a lot of his pitches are deliberate, where he tries to hurt people. And and then when Josh Naylor ended up getting hit from Montero on the neck, Naylor looked right into the dugout and Framber was pointing and laughing. So obviously, they're dirty, and again, Hinch, the manager on the Tigers, was part of that Astro cheating regime. So obviously they have a couple Astro ties already with Hinch, the manager, and Framber Valdez. And I mean, if you're going to end up crossing up your own catcher when he was on the Astros, Framber Valdez, and you're trying to injure him when the catcher was trying to tell you, we need to pitch this pitch, and then Framber ignored, ended up giving up a grand slam, and then the next pitch, he hit the catcher in the chest, and and he tried to injure him. So if you're going to try to injure your own players on your own team, obviously that's Bush League, and I won't hurt my feelings when Framber is out of the league, but it definitely sparks the rivalry a little bit more. And I think Astros number 1 for us, but I think now, with the Rangers and the Athletics and the Angels, I think you put them down a spot. And I think Tigers are number 2, based on, some of the playoff, issues as well as this year. And then obviously we know we have a little bit of a rivalry with the Blue Jays as well, but at least they don't try to injure us and throw at our head and whatnot. So, and Josh was pretty mature, about that situation, about getting hit in the neck and laughing it off, because he could have, went right towards the pitcher and fought him, at that point. And I am actually a little surprised that we didn't retaliate with Castillo today, which we could have, but at this point we're up 2-1 and, they're 26-39. They're not making the playoffs this year. And obviously we're 34-31. And, if they want to be Bush League and be dirty, let them, Runners at first and second with no outs. And Summers now enters the game. Yeah, Naylor laughed, but yeah, you could tell, that was, not something, it's one thing to hit someone in the ribs or in the stomach, but never the head or neck. And a little bunt there by Luke Raley, and he moves the runners over. And remember at the beginning of the game, we said, hey, we'd love small ball, and there it is. We at least get one. And Raley with the speed. I mean, if anyone can bunt and get to first, Luke Raley always hustles. Didn't get safe, but he did move both runners over to second and third, and a great bunt towards third base by Luke Raley. And he may, not be everyone's favorite player, and normally he's like a rotational role player guy, but for a guy that, was leading the team in home runs and RBIs, obviously we have a new leader in RBIs on the team now, but for a part-time player, pretty special, Luke Raley. And now we got a mound visit here. Winning the series is not revenge completed. When you end up trying to injure one of our guys, you did already with JP Crawford hitting him on the hand, high and inside, and then throwing at the neck of Naylor. This is something that we, you might be able to forgive them, but I fucking won't. I'm going to hang on to this fucking rivalry forever. And again, if you got Astro players or Astro managers on this other fucking team, again, it's like, are we ever going to forgive the Astros for all their bullshit and their cheating and all their dirty play? Fuck no. So again, we're going to have rivalries with the Astros and the Rangers and the Athletics and the A's because they're in the division, but based on what you say, on the field and in the media and what you do on the field and you try to injure our players, I will never fucking give this up. This will be something that I'll remember every game as we move forward and every year as we move forward. 0-1 pitch. And Ref Snyder is in there and takes another strike. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at second and third and 1 out. Tank with a 5-er. Appreciate you. I mean, there's one, you know, if it's one thing where you're kind of going back and forth and you're talking shit and whatnot, and, you know, guys get hit in the back or the stomach, then, you know, eventually, you know, you can cool down a little bit, and then, you know, we'll see what happens the next time you play them in a series. But, you know, anytime guys get hurt or you fight, you know, or you try to throw at a neck or a head, that's not forgivable. You know, that's something that you'll always fucking hang on to, or you should. You shouldn't let them, you know, be a scapegoat and just like, oh, you know, they threw out our head. Forget about it. Fuck that. You know, that's trying to injure our players, and there's no room for baseball for that. Big swing and a miss there from Rob Refsnyder, and that is 2 away. You know, again, same thing with the Astros. And again, I never thought that we would have another team that I feel that we would be on the same level as the Astros. You know, obviously we'll still get into some, you know, scrums and some spats, you know, with the Rangers and the Athletics. And we fought the Angels before, so we obviously know what we need to do, you know, even though that was a few years ago. But, and obviously we'll have our issues sometimes with the Blue Jays as well as the Yankees. You know, the rivalries are pretty deep, but you know, I think at this point, Tigers might be number 2 behind the Astros now, as Wisdom is intentionally walked. Now we have bases loaded for Colt Emerson. Now that makes you kind of wonder, why would you intentionally walk Wisdom for Emerson? Let's see if Colt can make him pay. That seems like a dumb move by Detroit, and let's see if Emerson can make him pay here. Oh, 1 pitch, big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes from Summers to Emerson. Come on, Colt. Oh, 2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Summers to Emerson. One, 2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Colt Emerson. You know, and again, you know, sometimes, you know, people try to play it off like, oh, the ball, you know, just I lost it, you know, and then they ended up getting hit in the back, you know, or in the stomach. But these pitchers have a lot more control than you think, you know, and again, they can try to sell it like they're not trying to hit the player. But as you watch a game and see how many pitches are inside, outside, low and away, and then you clearly see someone get hit in a certain spot, you know, a lot of times, you know, that's intentional, you know, and they try to play it off. Now, is there times where a ball does just kind of get away from a pitcher? Yes, it does happen. But normally when that happens, a guy doesn't get hit in the fucking neck or the head. You know, that usually is intentional for the ball to go all the way over there. And there we go. Emerson gets hit. And there we go with bases loaded. That brings in another run, and we are a few innings away from winning the series. And intentionally walking Wisdom was a fucking idiot move, but we'll take it. Thank you for being dumb, Detroit. And just like that, Emerson getting hit obviously doesn't look like it's intentional there because it got him on the elbow. And we'll bring in that free runner from third home. 3-1 Seattle. Let's go. Let's go, baby. And now they're going to go to the bullpen, and you can start to see things spiraling out of control for Detroit. And again, with Castillo on the mound, this definitely feels good. Next up is going to be Johnny Pareda. Tried ends up. Let's go, Ems. Pareda's 0 for 2, so hopefully we can get our first hit for him. So Summers was in the game, and now Finnegan is coming in. All right, Finnegan is coming in now, the righty, after Summers ended up not doing too well, and hopefully we'll be able to add on another run at least. You know, we're 3-1 right now, but obviously it would be great if we could end up, obviously best case scenario, Pareda ends up hitting a grand salami, you know, get the mustard and rye bread, and we end up going up 7-1, then we're definitely winning this game. But even an RBI single or an RBI double to make it 4-1 or 5-1 would be awesome. But, we'll see. And we'll see how patient, Johnny is. He might be able to get hit by the pitcher or maybe take a walk, and we can just continue this 2-out rally. So, but again, just the simple fact that Hinch was the manager, back with the cheating with the Astros, with the, garbage cans and all that stuff. And then now Framber Valdez is there, and Framber's one of the dirtiest pitchers and players in the game, and for him to point and laugh, after Kiter Montero hit him in the neck, Naylor, that says everything that you need to know, about who they are as a team and who they are as an organization, and trying to complain like we're the dirty team. Hinch had an interview yesterday trying to complain that like Naylor is dirty. And again, people that obviously know Josh, he's the farthest thing from being a dirty player. He's a class act. Hell, he even gives his cleats away, to kids and adults. That doesn't really scream dirty player to me. You would never see Framber Valdez do shit like that, do it for the fans or the kids and whatnot. So, the rivalry definitely will be heated up regardless if they have a good record or not. First pitch to Pareda, big swing and a miss, low and away with the slider, 0-1 count. Top of the 6th inning, 3-1 Seattle with bases loaded and 2 outs. 0-1 pitch. And Pareda with a blooper into center and caught, and that is out number 3. Nice catch there by Wencel Perez. We weren't able to get another run, but again, that Patrick Wisdom walk was a dumb move, and Emerson, he didn't get a hit, but he did get hit by the pitcher and ended up bringing in another run, which is good enough as an RBI single. And I don't mind when our guys get hit as long as they don't get hurt. But obviously with J.P. Crawford, getting hit on the hand, and now he's already missed 2 games, not ideal. Now it does bring, Cole and Colt together, and we know we're going to get that combo. And JP has actually been pretty good offensively for us lately. Now he has been a little bit of a liability defensively with some errors, but he has started to get a little bit better. But again, regardless if you like the player or not, with JP Crawford, whether he's on the team next year or not, whether he takes less money or not, I don't like seeing guys get hurt on our team. We have to stand up, for ourselves. And thankfully we ended up getting a 3-1 lead. Now let's go to the bottom of the 6th and see who's up next year for Detroit. Next up for the Tigers, 0-for-2, right fielder Kerry Carpenter. Batting second in the 2-hole, shortstop Kevin McConaughey, who ended up having a home run earlier in the game on Castillo. And batting third, the former Yankee, now Tiger, DHing Gleyber Torres. Trident's up, let's go M's. And Castillo's at 82 pitches, so he can go one more inning. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 5 Ks, 82 pitches, 60 strikes with a 5.22 ERA. Trident's up, let's go M's. 73 subs to go to 24,300. And looks like we ended up gaining 3 more. 70 subs to go to 24,300. We had 6.1 million views on the channel yesterday, which is fantastic. 10 on the Dono train, 90 to go. We'll see if we can get a Dono train going before the game ends. And we're at 110 likes, 90 to 200. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Well, the reason they go to Ref Snyder, or if you end up seeing Garver or Robles and they come into the game, it's based on lefty or righty pitchers on the other team. So that's only the reason why guys come in, like that, where they're lower end guys, that they rotate those guys in. First pitch to Carpenter, takes a strike, looking high and away, 0-1 count. But it's, better that we ended up going against a righty and Flaherty rather than a lefty like Framber Valdez, because if we would have went against a lefty today, we probably wouldn't be up 3-1 right now, and again, we don't do very well with lefties, and on top top of that, we have a weaker righty lineup with Ref Snyder, Mitch Garver, and Victor Robles in instead of Johnny Pereda, Luke Raley, and Dominic Canzone, which are a hell of a lot better, as of late and in general. And like I said, I do like Victor Robles' defense in right field, making some diving grabs. And obviously we know Ref Snyder is the worst hitter on the team, and Garver's not good either, but, you got to rotate certain guys in at time to time. 1-1 pitch, fouled off and out of play. Change up 87 miles an hour there by Castillo. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kerry Carpenter. Oh yeah, Dank with a 5er. We're at 15. Tender from Captain. Dank with a 5er. 85 to go. Appreciate you. Pitch fouled off, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to Carpenter. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons, why, Detroit obviously isn't as good. When you don't have your number 1 pitcher in Skubal for a good chunk of the season, that definitely hurts. No Parker Meadows, and on top of just a lot of teams that were good last year have had struggles this year, including ourselves. We've struggled early in the year, and we're just trying to get to where we need to be as that pitch is fouled off again. Look at the Blue Jays. They made the World Series. They're not having a good year. The Tigers aren't having a good year. So if you're looking at a lot of the teams, that made it far, besides the obvious, like the Dodgers, they're going to be good every year. But a lot of teams that were in the playoffs or were really, really good last year have had really terrible starts to 2026. But we look like one of those teams that we're still top 4 in World Series numbers, as far as what they think. They have obviously the Dodgers up there, they got the Braves up there, but the Mariners have been a top 4 team, based on the stat nerds and Vegas. They still think that the Mariners are one of the top teams in the American League, even when we had a below 500 record. 2-2 pitch, a little slow dribbler up the middle. Throw to first, and that is 1 up and 1 down. Down goes Carpenter. And again, now with Aaron Judge with the rib issue out for 4 to 6 weeks, and they'll reevaluate, there could be some wiggle room for the Mariners, after this road trip if we can catch up. And obviously we know that the Rays and the Yankees were very good. White Sox and Guardians finally got above 500, and we did as well, right? So, it's not crazy to think that we could end up having the best record in the American League before the season is over, and if we're not the best record, we could end up being top 2 or top 3. It just really depends on injuries to other key players like Aaron Judge, as well as other guys on the Tampa Bay Rays. Munetaka Murakami got injured with the hammy, so obviously that's going to hinder some of their wins. And again, we'll see what happens with the Guardians, with Jose Ramirez and Kwan, as well as some of those guys like Junior Caminero on the Rays. So, there definitely is wiggle room, for us to be able to climb to the top, even though we had a very hard, rough start to the season. Pitch is high and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Castillo to McGonigal. The slide wasn't dirty, but again, he had the oven mitt on, and he threw the oven mitt first and then tried to slide in, and if, they think that was dirty, or when Josh almost collided with one of the runners coming into first base, whatever their reasoning, if you didn't like that play at first where Naylor, was trying to run to the bag in time and they almost, collided in a hard way, and then obviously throwing off the oven mitt and then sliding into home, that doesn't warrant, the next game to throw at his head and hit him in the neck, but apparently when you have a former Astro manager and Framber Valdez, a former Astro on the team, then apparently that's okay. So, I won't forget, and I know Mariner fans won't either. 3-1 pitch, popped up and out of play. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Castillo to McGonigal, but I don't think what Naylor did was dirty in either play. And if it was, I would say so. We don't need to be biased. We call a spade, but I didn't see anything dirty on either play. But obviously the Tigers had an exception to it, and they thought throwing to the head and neck area was acceptable. And, if that's the way that they want to, be as an organization, then that's on them. And now next up is Gleyber Torres. McGonigal with the walk. First pitch is high and away. 1-0 count. And we know Dom has been one of the hottest hitters, and it sucks when Dom, ends up exiting, or Luke Raley when they're playing well. But again, Dan Wilson and Scott Service are going to manage this particular way, where we're going to be doing splits instead of having Dom and Luke play every day. And again, they don't do as well against left-handed pitching, but I think I still would rather have those guys in every day than see Ref Snyder at all, or some of the others. But I mean, this is the situation that we're in. And we have a lead, so it's not like it's a big deal. Popped up into right field, and nice job there by Luke Raley. And that is 2 up and 2 down. But we have seen in the last few weeks, at times, Dan will leave a guy in, which he normally wouldn't. So sometimes we are seeing Dom stay in, even when they go from righties to lefties and lefties to righties. Same thing with Canzone, but again, Dan will always fall back into his kind of normal ways, but he is kind of going outside the box a little, with some of his strategy, within the last few weeks. And now we got Jose Ferrer coming in. And great job there by Luis Castillo today. I mean, he gave up 1 home run, right? And again, normally with an ERA closer to 6, but now it's at 5, for him to only give up 1 run, obviously Castillo is starting to find the rhythm, which is good. Final line for Luis Castillo. 5.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 Ks, 100 pitches, 70 strikes with a 5.16 ERA. So regardless if it's Castillo or anybody, right? Brian Wu, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Emerson Hancock, Bryce Miller. If any of those guys would have gotten a 2-hitter and gotten 5 Ks and only given up a run, we would be excited. And so we should also be excited for our worst pitcher to be able to put up stats like that. And we're going to be bringing in Jose Ferrer. So again, we haven't said it too much this season. Good job, Luis Castillo, but he definitely earned it today. Great job, Luis Castillo. And now we're going to be bringing in Jose Ferrer. He's got an ERA of 1.57, and we definitely got the better end of the trade for Harry Ford. We all loved Harry Ford and, thought that maybe he would be the next future backup catcher, but he's not even in the big leagues. He's in AAA, and he's struggling. So we definitely won that trade. We needed bullpen help. And, sometimes the Mariners make the wrong move in the offseason, but this was one of the best moves the Mariners have made in the last few years. I hated to see Harry go, but even though Ferrer hasn't been the most reliable throughout the whole year, overall, he's been great. I mean, with all things considered. Next up is Riley Green. Especially when he ended up having that 8-9K game when he split, with Miller, and then was kind of getting pouty, when Miller had to come in. That was his first really good game of the year. And then now you have another, and this one you don't have to worry about splitting with Bryce. It's just you. And again, normally a guy that gives up multiple home runs, multiple RBIs, gives up usually 5 to 8 runs almost every fucking start, to give up only a run and 2 hits. Magnificent. Bottom of the 6th, 3-1 Mariners with a runner at first and 2 outs. And we got Jose Ferrer, hopefully, to get Riley Green out here. First pitch to Green, fouls that one off, 0-1 count. If we are going to trade a pitcher on our staff, it would only be Luis Castillo. That would be the only guy that they would get rid of. They wouldn't get rid of anybody else. I mean, if we get rid of Castillo and get like a really good bullpen guy, that could really be the difference, But who knows? Castillo may still be on the team after the deadline. But if they were to trade, and if we go pitcher for pitcher and we can get a bullpen guy that's good, whether it's a righty or a lefty, that could really help us out. But if Castillo can pitch like this and we can move him into the pen, later in the year, then maybe it would be worth keeping him. You know, it just really depends on the consistency of Castillo, or what version of Castillo are we going to get? The one that we got in the last couple starts, or the one at the beginning of the year? And if we get the one that we got today, I wouldn't mind him having, him on the roster, just in the bullpen later in the year, And you never know with injuries with the Mariners. There's no guarantee that Brian Wu, George Kirby, Emerson Hancock, Bryce Miller, and Logan Gilbert will stay healthy, for the rest of the year. There's a chance, that somebody could end up getting banged up, even a minor injury, and missing a week or two, and you might have to have someone fill in. So 1-2 pitch from Ferrer to Green. High and inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Green. Yeah, they won't trade Spire. We need all the bullpen help that we can get, even though Spire is kind of up and down as well. So, but even with all of the criticism, and we're very critical of the bullpen, we're top 3 bullpen in MLB, believe it or not, even though it doesn't feel like it to us a lot of times, with Mooney having his struggles and some of these other guys that have shit the bed, at times. But overall, our bullpen and our pitching staff is much better than a majority of the league. We're like top 8 as a starting group and top 3 as a bullpen. So, even when we get frustrated with our bullpen and our closer, they're still much better than a majority of the league. I mean, again, I think a lot of the teams would be salivating if they had top 8, in both. And again, top 8 starters, top 3 in the bullpen, even though it doesn't feel like that sometimes, but that's the, based off the stats, that's what it is. And Riley Green gets walked there by Jose Ferrer. Come on, Jose. We got to be able to get out of this jam. McGonigal to second. And now Riley Green to first. And next up is Dylan Dingler. We got to make sure we get Dingler out here. Well, Gabe Spire was already shitting the bed in the WBC, and then in spring training and in the regular season, he would get one out, give up a home run, and then in the next game, get one out, give up a home run, or get an out and give up an RBI. But there are going to be times where Gabe will be good and he'll strike out the side, or or get a little help defensively. But again, from one game to the next, we'll see where it goes. First pitch to Dingler, fouls it off from Ferrer, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Called a strike, but it was outside, and this will be challenged by Dingler, and Dingler should win this. I don't think it got any part of the strike zone here. And it was outside. 0-2 count gets reversed. Tigers win the challenge. 1 ball and 1 strike from Ferrer to Dingler. One pitch. Just a little bit of a foul tip there by Dingler. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Dingler. Bottom of the 6th inning, 3-1 Mariners. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And obviously Luis Castillo did his job. Now we just need the bullpen to do theirs and the offense to add on a few more runs if possible. 1-2 pitch. High and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Dingler. And again, the expectations going into this season was World Series or bust. We got a little spoiled, overachieving last season and beating the Tigers in the ALDS Game 5 with Jorge Polanco and, playing in the ALCS against the Blue Jays. And if we would have had Wu, we would have beat them. I really believe that. And hell, if we would have had a healthy Wu in the World Series, who knows? If Wu pitches 3 times against the Dodgers and it's lights out, who knows what happens? I mean, we typically would probably lose against the Dodgers, but again, Yamamoto was fantastic, but Wu, was on that same kind of level. And if you have Wu for 3 games, against the Blue Jays, 3 games against the Dodgers, and he wins all 3, then you only need one other guy to be able to get a win for you. So, again, it's just a matter of time. Got to crawl before you walk. And that is ball 4 to Dingler. And again, normally Jose Ferrer is reliable, but now with a couple walks, and now you're going to have Jahmai Jones come in for Colt Keith. With 1 swing, they can take the lead, and hopefully Jose Ferrer can get the job done. And again, these are the type of situations that make us frustrated, where you got guys where you look at their numbers on paper and they're really good on paper, but again, when you watch the games, sometimes what you see on paper stat-wise doesn't match up to what we expect, out of a guy, and we've seen Jose Ferrer, Gabe Spire, Brash lately, kind of been shaky. And again, we need these guys, and Bizzardo as well. So, hopefully we can find a way to, and speaking of Bizzardo, they have him warming up in the pen. And Bizzardo was our number one guy in the pen last year, but he's not number one this year. He's been a little shaky. So, and even with all of the shaky terms, we're still top 3 pen out of 30 teams. So, again, we want perfection. We want us, to be able to win these games, but sometimes guys are going to be a little off. You got to think, these guys have been sitting for a couple hours, and then we expect them to be lights out after sitting for 2 hours. Sometimes it takes a while, to get into a groove and a rhythm, even if you're warming up in the pen. First pitch, big swing and a miss by Jahmai Jones, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off. Here we go, 1 strike away. Come on, Jose. No balls and 2 strikes from Ferrer to Jones. Oh-2 pitch, high and away, and thankfully Johnny Pareda gets a hand on that. If he doesn't, runner from third comes home, and the game is 3-2. Nice defense there by Johnny Pareda. And again, sometimes with these guys in the pen, they're a little wild, and we don't want a wild pitch to score a freebie. We worked really hard to get to this 3-1 lead, and we had Castillo on the mound. Let's not blow it. 1-2 pitch, popped up. Get it, Julio. Yes, there we go. And after Jose Ferrer walks a couple guys, we get out of the jam, and there we go. Popped up to Julio Rodriguez in the no-fly zone, and that is out number 3. And that probably saved the game for us. Because again, if they end up getting that hit and the game ends up turning into 3-3 or 4-3, who knows if we come back. So great job there by Julio Rodriguez. Now let's go to the top of the 7th inning and add on another run or two. What do you say? Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a K. Second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Let's go. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a run and a K. Julio Rodriguez. He can play defense. He can play offense. He can do it all. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a run, RBI, and a K. First baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. One of my favorite first basemen that we've had on this team. No disrespect to Ty France, but Naylor is a big upgrade. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 70 subs to go to 24,300. We're at 15 on the dono train, 85 to go. And where are we at on the likes? We got 301 in the room, and we're at 125. $75 more likes to get to 200. Double A in the building. What's good? Joseph and Dank Love in the building. What's good? Let's get it. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Shout out to the legend and the icon, Rick Riz. Shout out to our female audience as well as all our new subs and everyone watching in the United States, Canada, South America, Mexico, Asia, and beyond. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. And it's rare to be able to have someone that can be a good hitter, a good person on and off the field, and a great defender at first base. You got to think about how many, runs and hits that Naylor has saved us, from stretching his body in weird, kind of ways based off high and low throws, from the infield. And Cole Young has saved us the most runs out of any player, based on a lot of his defensive web gems. And again, I assume that Emerson and a few others will be able to do that as well. Finnegan is on the mound, Young in the box. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes from Kyle Finnegan to Cole Clutch Young. Fly ball into right field on the 0-2 pitch. Easy play out there in right. and that is 1 up and 1 down. Barry Carpenter making that out. 1 up and 1 down. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let him know, Captain. First pitch is low and away. 1-0 count. Kyle Finnegan on the mound. Julio Rodriguez in the box. Luis Castillo on the mound today was magnificent, only giving up a home run to McGonigal, 2-hitter, and now it's just up to the bullpen to not shit the bed away, And again, Ferrer almost did, but luckily we were able to get out of that bases-loaded jam, and hopefully we can add on a few more. Because again, if we're tied or only have a 1-run lead and they bring Mooney in, lately he's given up a run almost every time that he's been out there. So if we can add on a few more for insurance would be great. 2-0 pitch from Finnegan to Julio. In there for a strike looking. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Julio Rodriguez. And time is called there by Julio. Yeah, well, consistency is something that, it has to be, everyone has to be on board, ownership, the GM, the head coach or the manager, and again, if you're not all on the same page, it's hard to be able to build a team for many, many years to have that consistency, to have the smart, minds in the room to be able to keep upgrading the team in the right way, and not everyone in an organization is the brightest, light bulb of the bunch. Sometimes you'll have a bad seed that kind of, makes the wrong, moves and the wrong decisions and whatnot. But one thing is for sure for teams in the Pacific Northwest, in Oregon and Washington, one, our teams are good. We're very good. Championship good. We may not win the championship every time, but if we get there, we'll definitely, it might have taken us 4 or 5 years to build it, but once it's built, we're usually championship worthy, whether that's the Seahawks, or the Mariners, and obviously with the Huskies and the Ducks, regardless of where your fandom lies, but again, it takes a while to be able to get that team to be a champion, and not everyone's going to be able to do it right away, but we've had some pretty good success. And again, the Sonics will be back soon. Kraken are getting better. Blazers look like they're getting better, especially if Giannis comes over from the Bucks and joins Dame. So again, a lot of excitement for teams in the Pacific Northwest, and we just got to hope that the Beavers and the Cougs can do the best they can with the limited money and assets they have as well. Throw to second, and Julio is safe. Great job there by Julio Rodriguez. Well, Julio dancing at second base. That kind of scared me for a second. One ball and 1 strike. And then Naylor ended up showing bunt and pulled back. One pitch, big, swing and a miss, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. You can be from Washington, David, but I live in Oregon. So what do you think? So again, I can root for the Kraken and I can root for the Mariners because I met Griffey, but you don't see me shitting on the Huskies or the Cougs ever on a stream ever. So realize what you say. Top of the 7th inning, 3-1 Mariners. Even though the Duck and Husky rivalry is heated, not everyone has to be a shit talker. 1-2 pitch. And McGonigal. And that is out number 2. Top of the 7th inning, 3-1 Seattle. Half the teams I root for are here in Oregon, the other half are in Washington. And again, I don't need to badmouth, any of the teams in Washington. There's just no reason to do it. Just depends on how mature you are. Big jump there from Julio and safe at third. Well, don't backpedal now, because you definitely meant it. Don't backpedal. If you're going to own it, own it. If you're a Husky fan or a Cougar fan and you hate the Ducks, you can't backpedal. And a nice hit there by Randy Arozarena. Julio coming home from third. And then we get some insurance. 4-1 Seattle. Let's go. Nice job there by Randy Arozarena. Coming up with the big single to right. Julio comes home as he was dancing at third. And just like that, 4-1 Seattle. Great job. Next up is Luke Raley. And another pitching change here by the Tigers. All right, Holton is coming in. The lefty, Tyler Holton, is coming in. They've gone to Flaherty, Summers, Finnegan, and now Holton. And hopefully we'll be able to rough up Holton here. We got 2 outs with a runner at first. Randy Arozarena with a 4-1 lead. And we got Luke Raley in the box. And obviously we can get a big RBI or home run out of Luke. That will give us the insurance. We've already got a little bit of insurance with that big RBI by Randy, but getting to 5 would be fantastic. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, but the thing is, be real with yourself. If you're going to talk shit, with family and friends about the Ducks, and again, you can't backpedal here, because again, when people type things on the chat, that's how they feel, You can't backpedal, after you already know what you're at, that's what it is. We know how heated the rivalry is. And some people can't be mature and root for the teams to win. But there are a few of us, that like to be able to see, everyone do well. The Cougs and the Beavers and the Ducks and the Huskies. But, top of the 7th inning, 4-1 Seattle. First pitch to Luke Raley. Takes a strike looking, low and away, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Luke Raley. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. One pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Holton to Raley. One-two pitch and a little blooper into right and another base knock there for the Mariners. And Julio Rodriguez scampering to third and safe. Here we go. Runners on the corners with 2 outs, and we got a great 2-out rally here. Great job there by Luke Raley. Would have been nice to have Dominic Canzone still in the game, considering how hot he's been lately, but there he swapped for Rob Refsnyder in the previous inning, so. Now let's see if Refsnyder can add on another hit for an RBI to get us to 5-1. One-0 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes from Holton the Refsnyder. Two-0 pitch from Holton to Refsnyder. Little dribbler towards third and foul. Cutter 87 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike with runners on the corners at first and third and 2 outs. Top of the 7th inning, 4-1 Seattle. Throw to first, and Luke Raley is safe. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Two-one pitch. Popped up behind the plate and out of play. Count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and third and 2 outs. Top of the 7th inning, 4-1 Mariners. Let's go. Two-two pitch, and Refsnyder with a little dribbler. Throw to first, and toe tap on the bag just in time, and that is out number 3. Nice RBI there by Randy Arozarena. And now we go to the top of the 8th inning with a nice 4-1 lead. Let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning and see who's up next here for the Tigers. Next up for the Tigers, 0 for 2 with a K, first baseman Spencer Torkelson. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, second baseman Zach McKinstry. And batting third, 1 for 2, center fielder Wencel Perez. And I'm curious, I don't think they'll have Ferrer be back out there, so I assume this will be Bizzardo, but we'll find out here in a moment. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 70 subs to go to 24,300. 15 on the dono train, 85 to go. And let's see where we're at on the likes with 312 in the room. 134. $66 to 200. And Cooper Criswell coming in. Criswell on the mound. Spencer Torkelson in the box. I mean, look how long they let Dylan Moore stay on the team last year, so obviously they brought Ref Snyder in because he could rake, against, left-handed pitching, but really hasn't found his way, with the Mariners here in 2026. But essentially, Ref Snyder is the Dylan Moore, it's the weakest link. There's no doubt about that. Bottom of the 7th inning, 4-1 Seattle. Let's go, baby. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Bottom of the 7th inning, 4-1 Seattle. And again, this will be a really big victory considering how bad Castillo has been this year. And if we can win this game and win the series, we got a 4-game set on the road against the Baltimore Orioles and then a 3-game set on the road against the Washington Nationals. So hopefully in this 10-game road trip, we can go 6-4 or better. Obviously 7-3 or better would be ideal, but we'll see what happens after this game when we go to Baltimore. First pitch is high and inside, 1-0 count. I mean, really the only thing that Dylan has maybe more than Ref Snyder is that he had the ability to play more than one position. May not be able to be good at playing more than one position, but 1-0 pitch, high and inside, 2 balls and no strikes from Criswell to Torkelson. But let's be honest, there has been some moments where Ref Snyder has gotten a couple hits, just even a couple days ago, and he has robbed a home run, and he's been bad, and he's the worst player, there's no doubt about that, but he's had some moments, not enough moments, but he's had some rather than none. Could be worse. Like in his stretch when he first started with the team where he went for 0 for 20-ish, it could be that player. Imagine if, we still had that type of Ref Snyder, type of player. So 2-2 count and a line drive into left, rolling to Randy Arozarena, and a nice base knock there by Spencer Torkelson. Hopefully Cooper Criswell will be able to hang on to this 4-1 lead. Next up is Zach McKinstry. First pitch to McKinstry, fouls it towards first base, out of play, 0-1 count. Go check up on Paisley here pretty soon, see if she's doing okay. I tucked her in on the couch for her to take a nap, and she hasn't come in here yet, so. 0-1 pitch, low and away, and that wild pitch gets away from Pareda, and runner advances to second. Come on, Mariners. Come on, Cooper. Come on, Pareda, focus. We got a 3-run lead, but that doesn't mean that we're going to keep a 3-run lead. Pass ball there by Pareda. 1-1 pitch, high and away. Change up 86 miles an hour, 2 balls and 1 strike to Zach McKinstry. Two 1 pitch. Big swing and a miss with the cutter right down the middle. Nasty pitch there by Criswell, 85 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at second and no outs. Bottom of the 7th inning, 4-1 Seattle. Two pitch, and that one ends up getting past Cole Young. Runner pumps the brakes at third, and just like that now, the Tigers are threatening. I don't don't think that bringing in Cooper Criswell was the right decision. I mean, Bizzardo could have given up these hits as well, but I think I would have rather went that direction. But we need help in the pen. I mean, we got a top 3 pen, but these are the type of situations that make us nervous. You know, Ferrer loading the bases, Cooper Criswell with runners at first and third and no outs. And, you know, more times than not, you know, we'll be able to get out of the jam, but sometimes we don't. And then it ends up making things a little bit more scary as the game progresses. Next up is Wencel Perez. First pitch, finally a strike in there to Wencel Perez, 0-1 count. We could really use a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout. One pitch fouled off behind the plate. Cutter, 86 miles an hour, no balls and 2 strikes to Wencel Perez. Come on, Cooper. 0-2 pitch. And another hard hit ball into right field. That's going to score a run. Hopefully only one. Get it, Luke. And now the game is 4-3. Thankfully, we ended up getting, that extra run support. But again, it shows you with the bullpen, you know, we might have a top 3 bullpen, but again, that doesn't mean that we feel comfortable, you know, in every game. And thankfully, we ended up having a 3-run lead, but now it's been erased to now a 1-run lead with a runner at third with no outs. Bad decision bringing in Cooper Criswell. And Cooper, more times than not, is decently reliable, but shit the bed here today. And I don't know what's worse, them scoring 2 runs or the fact that they have 2 runs scored and we have fucking no outs and a runner at third. So, yikes. You know, in a game where we felt, oh, we're going to win. And then now, who knows? And down goes Cooper Criswell. He exits. And, you know, that's the type of shit that we have to deal with, right? You know, for every good outing that we have in the pen, it just feels like we have quite a few bad outings and that they need the defense to kind of bail them out. And that was probably the worst outing I've seen out of Cooper Criswell all year. That was terrible. Next up is Kerry Carpenter. Should have let Bizzardo come in. And I imagine they were waiting for Bizzardo to pitch the 8th and then Mooney in the 9th, but hopefully the offense can, get into gear, because now we're only up by a run, and realistically, by the time we get 3 outs, the game is probably going to be tied, or we're going to be down a run. So we have to really hope that we can figure it out here, and let's see who's coming in next. And it's going to be Gabe Spire, and I don't know if I like that either. I mean, Gabe Spire, if you want to get 1 out, usually Gabe can do that, but asking Gabe to get 2 or 3, sometimes that's too much, you know, and hopefully Gabe can find a way, you know, to get a cheap out and get like a double play or something. Otherwise, you know, we're going to end up getting down in this game. And it shows you how important, you know, the bullpen really is. And they got Matt Vierling coming in, pitch hitting. It's never easy for us, is it? It's always a fucking battle. It's always a war. All right, Gabe Spire on the mound, and Matt Vierling is pinch hitting and coming in. And again, after Castillo, you know, ended up having a great outing, you know, gave up only 1 home run and 2 hits. And then, you know, go figure, the bullpen is the team, you know, the position group to fuck this game up, you know. You know, that's just the way that the cookie crumbles, right? You know, normally Castillo is bad, and then the bullpen, you know, at that point, if you're already down 5 runs, you can't expect them to be great, you know. But he actually pitches a great start, and then the bullpen shits the bed. And it's not like Ferrer was good. You know, he had bases loaded and we got out of the jam, but now we just have to hope that we get the good Gabe, not the bad. And this Pat McAfee lookalike better get the fucking job done. Otherwise, we're going to be down a couple runs and, you know, we may not come back. First pitch fouled off there by Matt Vierling, 0-1 count. I still think we can win this game, you know, but definitely disheartening to see what Cooper did there. 0-1 pitch fouled off there by Matt Vierling. No balls and 2 strikes from Gabe Spire to Matt Vierling. Bottom of the 7th with a runner at third with no outs. Wish we had at least one, but we'll see what happens here. O2 pitch popped up behind the plate and foul to the Comerica Park Bricks. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody, with a runner at third and no outs. Bottom of the 7th, 4-3 Seattle after having a 4-1 lead in Castillo, pitching a 2-hitter. Cooper Criswell giving up 3 consecutive hits back to back to back, and they end up getting a big 2-run inning, and they're not done yet. 0-2 pitch, a little dribbler towards third. And Wisdom's throw in time. Too bad we couldn't get a double play there at that runner at third. Too bad, if he was able to kind of scamper off third base, that would have been a huge double play. But good awareness there at third base. And then Wisdom diving towards third and still making the throw to first. And remember, Wisdom had the error to Josh Naylor earlier in the game. Thankfully, he didn't have another error, because then it would have ended up being, more than likely 4-4 in a matter of moments. All right, we finally got an out. And now we have Kevin McGonigal, who hit a home run earlier in the game, the rookie phenom here for the Tigers. First pitch is high and inside to Kevin McGonigal, 1-0 count. Well, considering Bryce Miller is the best pitcher on the team right now, he doesn't deserve to have anyone piggyback with him. If you're going to have anybody piggyback, it should be Logan Gilbert and Luis Castillo piggybacking off each other, the 2 worst on the team right now. I mean, even though Wu and Kirby have not looked good in their last couple starts, usually they're a little bit more trustworthy than Gilbert and Castillo, even though both of those guys have been better lately. Obviously Miller and Hancock have been pretty good. Wu and Kirby have struggled, recently, but, usually are trustworthy. And then Gilbert and Castillo have been the 2 worst, but lately they've been getting better, so, hopefully we can get everyone on the same page sooner than later. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to McGonigal. In these kind of situations, it makes me really wish that Cade Anderson was on the team right now, as an option. Popped up there by McGonigal. Randy is there in left. He catches it. Hard throw into the infield. Can you believe that? And it goes right to Wisdom. And that is 2 away. And if somehow, by a miracle, that we can keep this game with a 1-run lead after them scoring 2 runs with no outs, again, that could give us, hopefully the momentum to be able to add on another run or 2 and hopefully win this game. Next up is Gleyber Torres. And now we're going to have a talk here with Woodworth. All right, Gabe Spire on the mound. Gleyber Torres in the box. And let's see if we can get the good Gabe to get this last out. I don't care if it's a strikeout, a pop-up, a ground out. Just find a way. We got to keep this 1-run lead. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. First pitch is high and away with a 4-seam fastball. 95 miles an hour there by Spire. 1-0 count. Come on, Mariners. We got to hang on. Got to win the series. Got to win this for Castillo. Especially with all the struggles that Luis had at the beginning of the year. Starting to get a little bit better lately, him and Logan Gilbert. But go figure, we finally get Castillo and Gilbert looking better, and then the top guys, Kirby and Wu, looking like shit the last couple starts. It's like, can we just get everyone on the same page for once? But apparently not. But at least Bryce Miller is, looking fantastic, and hopefully that'll rub off on some of the others. 1-1 pitch, up behind the plate and foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Gleyber Torres. All right, we're 1 strike away from getting out of this jam. I mean, we already gave up 2 runs because of Cooper Criswell's bullshit, giving up 3 consecutive hits in a row. But again, if we can get this last out and still hang on to a 1-run lead, this would be big. Runner at third with 2 outs. Let's keep this 4-3 lead. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gleyber Torres. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. 2-2 pitch to Torres. Big swing and a miss. Let's fucking go. Let's go, baby. Bend, but don't break. And again, Gabe, has had moments where, as we know, he's shit the bed before and given up home runs and RBIs, not only in the WBC, not only in spring training, but at the beginning of the year. But we finally get the good Gabe Spire when we needed him the most. Great job, Gabe. And again, Cooper Criswell and Jose Ferrer obviously did not look good, and again, at least Gabe is more on the Castillo level today rather than the Ferrer-Criswell level. And great job there by Gabe Spire. We hang on to a 1-run lead, and now it's back to the offense to do their job and to reclaim those 2 runs that we gave up by Cooper Criswell. Let's go. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2 with a base on ball and a K. Third baseman today, Patrick Wisdom. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a run, RBI, and a K. Shortstop, Colt Emerson. And batting third in the 9-hole, catcher, Johnny Pareda. Let's fucking go. Top of the 8th inning, we're up by a run, but we need more. We need a little bit more run support, especially if we're going to bringing in Mooney. We got to be able to be up by 2 runs or more. If we're only up by a run or we're tied and he gives up a run, we might be screwed. So, and again, we got to hope that we get the good Mooney, not the bad, but a majority of this season, it's been kind of bad for Mooney, as we all know, right? So, but again, if Castillo can turn it around, we got to hope that Mooney can too. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. I still believe we can win this game and win this series. 70 subs to go to 24,300. We just hit 6.1 million views on the channel yesterday. So shout out to all of the new subs and all of the OGs. Shout out to our female audience, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. And we're at 15 on the dono train, 85 to go. And we're at 151 likes, 49 more to get to 200. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. All right, Drew Anderson is coming in here, a righty for the Tigers. And I really hope we go against a lot of righties against the Nationals and the Orioles, because the more lefties that we go against, that means we're going to have a weaker lineup, the less Ref Snyder, less Garver, and the less Victor Robles, even though I like Victor, and we can have more Dom, more Luke Raley, more Johnny Pareda. That's going to give us a better chance to win those 4 games against Baltimore and 3 games against the Nationals. And we're on a road trip, 10 games. And again, I would love to start off this road trip 2 wins and 1 loss rather than 1 win and 2 losses. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Anderson to Wisdom. 4-seam fastball right down the middle, 97 miles an hour on pitch 1. Pitch 2, a 4-seam high and away, 95 miles an hour. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, low and away. Curveball, off speed, 82 miles an hour there by Anderson. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Patrick Wisdom. Try heads up. Let's go, M's. We can do this. One-two pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Anderson to Wisdom. And again, like they mentioned, Goldie, moments ago, we don't have any home runs yet, and we're the most home run dependent team in baseball. But that doesn't mean that we can't win a game without any home runs, but there's still a chance that we might hit 1 or 2 before the game is over. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Nice punch out there by Anderson, and that is 1 up and 1 down. I hope we can get at least 1 home run. Next up is Colt Emerson. Yeah, and how many of those losses are on Mooney? Quite a few of those, where we've had a tie game and he gave up a run, or we're up a run and then he gave up a run or two, and then we're tied or down by a run, and then you have all that pressure on the offense with 3 batters to make up a run or two when you've led the majority of the game. So 1-0 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Colt. 1 ball and 1 strike from Anderson to Emerson. See if we can get a jolt from Colt. Let's go, baby. They may have a phenom in Monaco, but hey, we got one in Colt Emerson, 20 years old, and he's got all the skills to be the guy, at shortstop for the next 5 to 10 years. See if he can come up big here. Big swing and a miss, low and away. Change up 92 miles an hour there by Anderson. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 8th, 4-3 Seattle. 1-2 pitch. Hard hit ball into left field, fading foul. 4-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour there by Anderson. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Colt Emerson. Let's go. Five. Yikes. I mean, at one point we had Castillo and Mooney. Big swing and a miss on a changeup low and away, fooling Colt, and that is 2 up and 2 down. But there was a time where we had Castillo and Mooney with ERAs over 6. And again, that's, one thing to have an ERA above 6 when you're a starter in Castillo, but no one expected Mooney to have an ERA of 6 as a closer, considering he used to be top 5, in MLB, or top 10, and now maybe bottom 10, but hopefully he'll get better. First pitch is low and away with the slider to Johnny Pareda, 1-0 count. Come on, Johnny. We've had some pretty good 2-out rallies today, and we're going to need another one here. Come on, Johnny. 1-0 pitch. Little dribbler towards third. Oh, no way. Unbelievable bounce, and Johnny is safe. Wow. A little luck there, for that ball to bounce that type of way, and we'll take it. Great job there by Johnny Pareda, getting a little lucky on this little dribbler towards third that has kind of an awkward bounce. And obviously McGonigal couldn't handle that. And anytime you end up having plays like that to McGonigal, the shortstop, or the third baseman, Colt Keith, we'll take it. Next up is Cole Young, who's already got an RBI. Let's see if we can get it done here with Cole. Come on, Cole. On deck is Julio Rodriguez. 1-0 pitch to Young. And a little ground ball. Wow, it scoots through all the way to right field. Go, go, go. Go, Johnny. Go, Johnny. Yes. And we have runners at first and third with 2 outs. And we're really good today, with 2-out rallies. And sometimes, we can't get a rally going with 2 outs, but today we're finding the confidence and the rhythm, after getting beat up that last inning by Cooper Criswell. Great job there by the Seattle Mariners, by Johnny Pareda, getting a little bit of luck on that bounce towards third, and Cole Young coming up big again. Cole Clutch Young, I see you. Next up is Julio Rodriguez, and with one swing, this game could end up being 7-3, 6-3, or even 5-3. Let's go, J-Rod. First pitch in there for a strike, looking with a curveball, 82 miles an hour, 0-1 comp. Let's go, baby. Come on, J-Rod. Top of the 8th, runners on the corners at first and third. I mean, even if we just get one more run to get a 2-run gap, would be huge for us. 0-1 pitch. And Julio with a little dribbler and running to second. And toe tap in the bag just in time. And that is out number 3. So unfortunately, Julio cannot get the RBI. We only have a 1-run lead. But again, at least a good sign that we got some guys on base, and hopefully we'll be able to do that in the top of the 9th as well. But instead of keeping guys on base, hopefully we'll be able to knock one more in. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th. After the fielder's choice is secured there, Cole Young is out at second. Let's see who's up next. Next up for the Tigers, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K, left fielder Riley Green. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a base on ball, catcher Dylan Dingler. And batting third, filling in for Colt Keith, will be Zach Short. I got to pull up the Zach Short photo since he's pinch hitting. All right, and where are we going to go with pitching? And Bizzardo is finally coming in. So obviously Castillo did well. Spire did well. Ferrer and Cooper Criswell did not, especially Cooper. He really shit the bed. But again, now we got to get the good Edward Bizzardo, and hopefully Bizzardo will get the job done, and then we'll go Mooney after that. All right, Bizzardo, we really need a good performance here. Let's go. Four saves, 9 and 13. Let's go, baby. I want to be able to go on a nice victory walk with my pup here this Sunday afternoon. Then obviously we'll be live tomorrow, and thankfully it won't be early in the morning again. But again, when you do play on the road in the Midwest or East Coast, you'll have a couple games in the early afternoon and then some in the morning. And a little dribbler, throw to first, and Josh Naylor is there, and that is 1 up and 1 down. A very easy out there on Riley Green, and thankful that he didn't work the count because Green is one of those guys that can really hurt you. Next up is Dylan Dingler, 0 for 2 with a base on ball. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. I still believe we can win this game. There's no doubt in my mind. First pitch there from Bizzardo to Dingler, taking a strike. 0-1 count. And we got to have at least 2 out of our 4 guys in the pen play well. And then obviously when Mooney comes in, we have to hope that we have more than just a 1-run lead, hopefully. But 0-1 pitch. Woo! Nice pitch there by Bizzardo with the sweeper. No balls and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Dingler. And remember, Bizzardo was our number 1, bullpen pitcher last year, and then obviously Brash and Spire after him. But Bizzardo has been a little shaky this season, but that doesn't mean he can't get the job done here. 0-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 8th, 4-3 Seattle. Come on, Bizzardo. And if you remember, prior to last year, Bizzardo was actually one of the worst in the pen, obviously with Taylor Saucedo, who's no longer on the team. And we know how bad Sauce was. He may have Pacific Northwest ties, but that wasn't enough for us to root for him to be able to be on this team long term. Pitches low and at the knees with a sweeper, 83 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dylan Dingler. So it shows you can go from being one of the worst to one of the best, but it's not common. 1-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking. This is the Bizzardo that I was hoping for. Let's go. 2 up and 2 down. That's the Bizzardo that we all love. Good job, Edward. Here we go. Top 3 bullpen, finding a way to show you that, hey, some guys might fuck up like Ferrer and Criswell, but Gabe Spire and Bizzardo can get the job done here today, along with Luis Castillo pitching one of the best starts, of the year. Next up is Zach Short. He's pinch hitting. First pitch is a ball due short, 1-0 count. High and away. Sinker at 95 miles an hour. Whoa! 1-0 pitch. Bat goes flying. And it goes all the way into the Tiger dugout. Holy cow. Hopefully that didn't hit anybody in the head. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Short. Let's go, baby. Wow. On the top of the dugout, he had a fan reaching for the bat that was in the front row, but it was just out of reach. Bottom of the 8th, 4-3 Seattle. Nobody on with 2 outs. Bizzardo on the mound. Zach Short pinch hitting for the Tigers in the box. 1-1 pitch. Ooh. Gets the corner, but doesn't get the call. Let's take a look on the pitch graph to see how close that was. Looks like it was outside. 2 balls and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Short. But even with the pitch graph, sometimes it lies. You know, when they end up doing the ABS, sometimes it ends up hitting the corner. 2-1 pitch. Hard hit ball into left field, fading foul. Sinker, 94 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th inning, 4-3 Mariners. Let's go. Come on, Bizzardo. I believe. Come on, Edward. 2-2 pitch from Bizzardo. Check swing. Did he go? Ooh. Did not go around. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. You know, we definitely need to start this road trip off with a series win. Go 2 out of 3. Hopefully win 3 out of 4 against the Orioles. And then 2 out of 3 versus the Nats. Popped up. Julio Rodriguez is there. And there we go. No fly zone, getting the job done. And that is out number 3. Great job there by Edward Bizzardo. Thankfully, at least they have a couple guys that can get the job done. And probably the most reliable defensive center fielder in the game, Julio Rodriguez, making another big play for us. Good job. All right, end of the 8th inning. We have a 1-run lead, but we need more. We got to try to get 1 more run. We don't necessarily need 2 or 3 or 4. If we get it, then we know we're going to win for sure. But to make sure that we win this game, hopefully we can get 1 more run. Now, Will Vest is coming in here for the Tigers. Let's see who's up next for the Mariners. Next up in the 3-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting second in the 4-hole, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And batting third, right fielder Luke Raley. I like that lineup. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Now let's get the Vest photo up here. I mean, hell, at this point, I'll take a 4-3 victory, but I would like a little bit more insurance if we can get it. And the righty Will Vest will be coming in, so that should play into our hands. All right, Vest on the mound, the righty, and starting it off, our guy, Josh Naylor. Let's go. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 70 subs to go to 24,300. We hit 6.1 million views yesterday on the channel, which is absolutely fantastic. We're at 15 on the dono train, 85 to go. And with 331 in the room, let's see how many more likes we need to get to 200. We're at 159. We're almost there. $41 to 200. Let's go, baby. Orioles are 19-15 at home, 6-4 in the last 10 games, 13 straight wins versus teams over 500. The Baltimore Orioles. So again, it's going to be challenging. 4-game set against the O's. And again, we know a couple years ago they were a playoff team, and then last year they struggled. And we'll see what happens, obviously, in that particular series that starts tomorrow. First pitch foul behind the plate, 0-1 count. But with the Aaron Judge rib injury, there definitely is a little bit of wiggle room. Munetaka Murakami with a hammy. We obviously only have a few teams above 500, White Sox, Guardians, Rays, Yankees, Mariners, but there definitely is a chance for some room to climb, not only in the American League West standings, but for us to climb higher to being the best team in the American League at one point this season. A 1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. No balls and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you. 0-2 pitch. And Naylor fouls that one off himself slightly, which is a trend lately, it feels like. Hopefully he's okay. A little slight hobble there from Naylor. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 9th inning, 4-3 Mariners. Come on, baby. I need to go on a nice victory walk to the park with the pup. Let's go. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Top of the ninth, 4-3 Seattle. Will Vest on the mound for the Tigers. Josh Naylor in the box for the Mariners. Let's go, Josh. 0-2 pitch, fouled off. Low and at the knees. The ball's in 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. And now the trainer and Dan Wilson are coming out. Hopefully Josh is okay. Now we got the trainer out there. And again, we've seen quite a few injuries, based on players tipping a ball into their own body, or it getting deflected into the catcher, where there's no padding, or it getting deflected into the ump. Rebecca with a $5. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. We're at 20 on the Dono train, 80 to go. Appreciate you. Great hat. Great photo. And especially, for this team, to throw at Naylor's neck and trying to injure him yesterday. It would only be fitting if he could end up continuing this at-bat and getting a hit or a home run here late. Starting a rally for us here. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Josh Naylor. One-two pitch. And Naylor getting a hold of one. There we go. That's my boy. And a nice hit into left field. And again, for all those haters that were talking shit about Josh Naylor, take that. Let's go. Nice job there by Josh. There's not very many people that could get hit in the neck and laugh about it. But again, the rivalry is real between the Mariners and the Tigers now. Great job there by Josh Naylor. Had a feeling that he might be able to come up big. Great hit. And now let's see if we can continue this rally. Next up is Randy Arozarena. On deck is Luke Raley. Let's see if we can get one more run on the board, maybe even 2 if we can hit a home run here, either between Luke or Randy. First pitch, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Now they're calling Naylor out at second. And looks like Naylor goes over the bag. Let's take a look at the replay. Naylor is usually pretty good at the jump. Got a huge jump there. And went feet first. Probably should have went head first. And I assume the Tiger fan base is going to say that's dirty on Josh Naylor as he's trying to slide into second. Always coming up with excuses. I don't know. And obviously Naylor, it looked like, was initially safe, but then when he collided into McKinstry, the foot went off the bag just based off the collision itself. And then the tag was still on him. So unfortunately, Naylor was caught stealing, not initially, but after, colliding into the, batter there. And Randy Arozarena gets hit by a pitch. And at least we get another batter, on a base. So unfortunate that Naylor got out, even though he got a great jump. But now we got Randy on at first. And we know Randy can easily go from first to second base and steal a bag and get us to the point where we were with Naylor. Next up is Luke Raley. Top of the 9th inning, 4-3 Seattle. First pitch, takes a strike looking outside with a slider, 87 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Looks a little outside, but again, when they do ABS, sometimes it ends up being closer than you think. Throw to first, and Randy is safe. One pitch and throw back to Randy at first, and he is safe just by an inch. Wow. Randy's lucky to get back to first base. He was quite a ways away. Are they going to challenge? Tigers are challenging with the tag on Randy. It's close. Oh, yeah, there definitely is still the rivalry with the Guardians and the Tigers. There definitely is some, because usually Josh would get the best of them on the Guardians as well. So it's not like it's just here with the Mariners. It's obviously with Naylor, playing with the Guardians and having that rivalry with the Tigers as well. There's 100%. Oh, Randy out. Wow. So not only is Josh Naylor out at second, Randy ran too hard from first to second and couldn't get back in time. And then he is out. Not really ideally what we wanted in that inning, to be able to get one more run of insurance. But again, good plays by the Tigers, to be able to get both runners out, Naylor and Randy, which is unfortunate. It's one thing to get one guy out on the bases in an inning, but to get two guys out back to back, not ideal. 0-2 pitch, and that is strike three on Luke, and that is out number 3. Well, I guess we're going to have to try to win with a 1-run lead. And again, nothing really surprises me with this team, but hopefully we can find a way. And if Mooney does come in, let's just pray that he doesn't end up giving up a run and the game ends up being tied or they end up winning. Unfortunate top of the 9th inning there for the Mariners, but again, adversity. You got to be able to go through it, and hopefully we can still find a way to win this game 4-3. And Mooney's ERA is at 4.76 rather than over 6, so at least we have that going for us. All right, we're at 167 likes, 33 more to 200. And we got Mooney coming in, and we just got to hope this is going to be the good Mooney, not the bad. So obviously for Mooney to get his ERA above 6 into the high 4s, he's been playing better, but still not really the player that we all know and love, but hopefully he'll be able to get the job done. And we don't even need 3 strikeouts. Hell, we don't even need a strikeout. We just need outs, and hopefully we'll be able to get it. Next up in the 7-hole, first baseman Spencer Torkelson. Batting second in the 8-hole, second baseman Zach McKinstry. And then batting third, unless they make a change with a pinch hitter, should be 9-hole hitter Wencel Perez. All right, come on, Mooney. Got to find a way. All right, let's go, baby. Bottom of the 9th, Mariners up 4-3. And again, if we get the good Mooney, we win. But if we get the bad Mooney, the game, could potentially be tied or we're down a run. So it's just hope that we can find a way to get this dub right here and we don't have to go to extras. First pitch in there for a strike, 0-1 count. We got Victor Robles in right field now for Luke Raley. And again, you'll know how good Mooney is in the first 7 pitches. That'll determine what he looks like for this outing. 0-1 pitch. Popped up. Yes! Here we go. Emerson is there. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Let's go. 2 outs away from getting saved. Number 10. Let's go. Good job there, Mooney. A pop-up, a ground ball. Like I said, we don't even need a strikeout. And that's kind of a crazy thing to say for your closer, because normally if you have a good closer, you're like, yeah, punch out all 3 guys. But the way that Mooney's played this season, we just need outs. We don't need to, be, thinking, oh, he'll get the strikeouts, because obviously he's been a little wild this year. First pitch is high and away with a 4-seam fastball to Zach McKinstry, 1-0 count. And I think he needs to dial back the speed a little bit and try to get the location. Instead of trying to throw your arm out and throwing 100 miles an hour, dial it back 90 to 95 and hit your spots. And that will make you more of a dangerous pitcher, especially with your struggles. But I think he really only knows how to pitch one way, as hard as he can. Takes a strike looking on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Zach McKinstry. 1-1 pitch, high and away. Four-seam fastball, 98 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike from Mooney to McKinstry. Come on, Mooney. I mean, especially if you're pitching like 98 to 100 and you throw something in the mid-80s, they won't see it coming. 2-1 pitch, low and away. Four-seam fastball, 99, 100-mile-an-hour pitch there by Mooney. 3 balls and 1 strike to Zach McKinstry. 1 pitch on the corner and 3 way off the plate. Come on, Mooney. 3-1 pitch. And that is ball 4. Fucking A. Luckily, we got the pop-up on the first out, but next batter, not good. And again, his issues have been not only mental, they've been physical. His grip on his slider has not been good all year. And you would have thought, at this point, it would have been fixed, but clearly not. But on the flip side, he has been getting better lately, but, not by to the standards of, being a top 5, top 10 closer that we all know him for. First pitch into Wencel Perez, low and at the knees, four-seam fastball on the line, right on the corner, but not getting the call. 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, low and at the knees, 2 balls and no strikes from Mooney to Perez. Come on, Andres Munoz. Come on, baby. 2-0 pitch. Fuck. High and away. And again, you can tell how Mooney's going to be, again, when he gets into that 0-2 count and, he's on, you know it. And again, another bad outing. I mean, we still have a 1-run lead, but he can't hit his spots. 3-0 count to Perez. Finally, a fucking strike. High and away, four-seam fastball, triple digits, 100 miles an hour. 3 balls and 1 strike to Wencel Perez. Come on, Mooney. A double play would be great to end the game if we can get it. 3-1 pitch. And another fucking walk. Jesus Christ, Mooney. I mean, and again, if we're going to keep Mooney as a closer, we're not going to be able to make it to the World Series, let alone we might not even be able to win a fucking series in the playoffs if they have Mooney and we get there, It's crazy that Mooney's on like the Rob Refsnyder level, where it's like you don't really trust him, and again, even Castillo and Gilbert that looked, kind of bad early on the year, they've gotten better, but Castillo hasn't really. Or Mooney really hasn't that much, I mean, obviously his ERA has gone down from 6, but it's fucking A, man. It's still in the 4s and the 5s for the most part. And if you have a closer that's got an ERA that's 4 to 6, that's fucking terrible. Also considering he used to be a top 5 closer, top 10 closer in the league. And, now it's like, what happened to this guy? Oh. Can we please get the double play and bail him fucking out? Next up is Matt Vierling. Jesus Christ, he almost hits him on the first pitch, high and inside. 1-0 count. We got really lucky there. I mean, if Vierling leans into that, that's, bases loaded with 1 out, and we might end up losing. But again, people want to say, oh, Mooney will be fine. Mooney will be fine. Well, Jesus Christ, man, look at how many games we're in already right now. People have said that he was going to be fine, early on, but look where we're at game-wise. 1-0 pitch. Jesus Christ. Nice job there by Pareda getting that wild pitch and smothering it. Otherwise, runners would have advanced to second and third. God, this motherfucker is terrible. Runners at first and second with 1 out. Bottom of the 9th, we only have a 1-run lead. 2-0 pitch. Finally getting a strike, high and inside. Four-seam fastball, 99 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike to Matt Vierling. Come on, Mooney. Two-one pitch. There we go. Another good back. I mean, it's when things are going bad, when he can't even throw back-to-back good pitches more times than not, but he does it there. Good four-seam fastball right there in the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Matt Vierling. Come on, Mooney. 2-2 pitch. Little dribbler up the middle. Give me a double play. No double play. Throw to first. Got him. 2 away. All right. Couldn't get the double play. Didn't have enough time there for Patrick Wisdom, but at least he ends up making the play. And now we have runners at second and third with 2 outs. Gosh, man. Mooney just loves the fucking dramatics, doesn't he? A little bit too close for comfort, if you ask me. And next up is Kevin McGonigal, their fucking phenom rookie. And we just have to keep these runners at second and third, please. I mean, we got to call a spade a spade. You know, we just can't, act like he's, playing well when he's not. First pitch to McGonigal, high and away, 1-0 count. Bottom of the ninth, runners at second and third with 2 outs. Mariners up 4-3. And I mean, if this was the good Mooney last year, we win. There's no doubt in our minds whatsoever. But 1-0 pitch, and it goes over Cole Young's head. Runner scores. Throw home. And the Tigers win. Jesus Christ. Both runs come home. That ball goes over Cole Young's head. And we need to make a change. How many times are we going to lose games with a 1-run lead and they end up scoring 1 or 2? And McGonigal had a home run earlier in the game. And I mean, I know there's, people in the room that, love Mooney, but again, he ain't it this season. And again, if we go with Mooney for the whole year, we're not going to, be able to go on a deep run. Hell, we might not even make the fucking playoffs. It could end up being the Angels or the Athletics and the Rangers instead. Yeah, it's like, this was a series that we should have won, and again, how many times are we going to go through this fucking situation where Mooney can't get the fucking job done? Heartbreaking loss, and again, I know Ferrer wasn't very good today, right? And again, they probably won't put Matt Brash there, but you have a couple other options, either Brash, Spire, Ferrer. But again, the longer that, they don't make the change and either bench Mooney or have Mooney only pitch in the 8th inning, never in the 9th until he's healthy and good to go, the longer that you stick with a guy that's bad, we're going to have more heartbreaking losses like this. And I feel like my heart just been ripped out, and again, it's not like this is the first time that's happened. This has happened many fucking times this year. All right, let's go over the stats. Final score, Tigers 5, Mariners 4 out. And I said earlier how important it was, to be able to have more than a 1-run lead. And obviously Cooper Criswell and Andres Munoz lost this game for us. And Ferrer didn't pitch well. Gabe did pretty good. Luis Castillo did pretty good. And again, so we had a couple guys that pitched well. And Vest gets the win. Mooney gets another fucking loss. And I'm just sick and tired of losing games like this. It's one thing, when the game is tied and then you end up losing by a run or 2. But when you have a 1-run lead and you have no faith that Mooney can hang on to a 1-run lead, I mean, what are we doing? Brutal. All right, let's go over the stat line. Cole Young, 2 for 5 with an RBI. Julio Rodriguez, 1 for 4 with 2 runs. Josh Naylor, 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Luke Raley, 2 for 4. Dominic Canzone, 0 for 2. Ref Snyder, 0 for 2. Should have never taken him out. Patrick Wisdom, 1 for 3 and an error. Colt Emerson, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. And Johnny Pareda, 1 for 4. So, I mean, a majority of the lineup got a hit, but again, Cooper Criswell, giving up those runs. And then obviously Mooney, you can't win games with guys like that. And let's go with the Tigers now. Kerry Carpenter, 0 for 3. Kevin McGonigal, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a home run and a run. He's the hero, obviously, of this series. Gleyber Torres, 0 for 4. Riley Green, 0 for 3. Dylan Dingler, 0 for 3. Colt Keith, 0 for 2. And then Jones and Short, both 0 for 1. Spencer Torkelson, 1 for 4 with a run. Zach McKinstry, 1 for 3 with 2 runs. And Wencel Perez, 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I'm sick and tired of losing games this way. But I guess this is the situation that we are in. So, man, brutal. You know, and again, if we would have had a better outing, you know, Castillo pitched well, right? You know, Ferrer, you know, had bases loaded, but he didn't give up a run. But then Criswell gave up 3 hits in a row, and they scored 2 runs. And then Mooney, you know, walking some guys and giving up these big clutch hits late, gives up another 2 runs. And essentially Criswell and Mooney lost the game for us. Brutal. All right, final score, Tigers 5, Mariners 4. They end up winning the series, which is unfortunate, but then we have to get back on track because we got a 4-game set against the Baltimore Orioles starting tomorrow, and then a 3-game set against the Nats, the Washington Nationals. So hopefully we'll be able to recover from this painful loss, and you know, we'll see what happens moving forward. But love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Final score, Tigers 5, Mariners 4. And I got one question for you. Who you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Tridents up and go Mariners.